Hello and welcome to the regular edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. It's a regular Friday edition, I should have said straight away. Tonight we'll be discussing that game, or what we can call a game, yesterday, and we'll also be discussing the Europa League squad, the draw, the teams we can draw.
Hello. Hey.
Right, we've got a few things to talk about. So I'll start by introducing a regular friend of the show, Eugene. How are you, Eugene?
I'm okay. Look up, Adrian, Drew. Good to be on.
And fellow admin Drew, how are you?
Adrian, I'm slurping a cup of tea here. I'm hoping that my laptop doesn't crash. I've had to throw out some plants that I really didn't want to throw out this morning. Tottenham were a car crash last night. The fan base is in meltdown. We got Villa on Sunday. I'll tell you what, loving life. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm fine. Obviously, when we do these shows, we have to keep our cool when you're admins, like even if you're seething about the result. But we'll get straight in and we'll start talking about post-match Liverpool Spurs. Eugene, when you see the team, what was your thoughts? Happy with it when you saw it?
Was pretty happy. One thing I would rather have seen Bergvall over Bissouma. Just, my thoughts on Bissouma, I don't rate it. But overall, when I saw that, I figured Ange is going to go defensive. That's what we've all been hoping for, and that's the only way we could have nicked the result. So I was pretty happy with the team selection.
Drew, your take on the starting lineup?
I don't think, given the situation currently, I don't think you could have asked for too much more. I'm not sure what else you could have done, really, given that you're going to Anfield. But the Sarr, Bissouma, Bentancur, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of two out of those three anyway. But you just don't expect. Well, I mean, this is Tottenham. Maybe you do expect that sort of capitulation, because I've actually mentioned it before that when we seem to fall apart, we completely fall apart, and it's everybody. But yeah, I don't know. Bissouma and Bentancur, must do better if this is a class report. Sarr, he's 22 years old. I'm still not going to go too hard on the kid, like he's trying. But yeah, not the best.
My take on it, I didn't actually think Danso would get the debut. I thought Gray would be in there and Porro would start. That was about it. Yeah, so that was it. When I looked at it, I thought, yeah, he's gone for a solid midfield. We're playing Liverpool away, and the last thing you want is to go gung-ho or go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, who are, on form. They're the best team in the league and probably one of the best teams in Europe. So
I think my problem with that, Adrian, is that I think, I mean, we're probably going to get into it, but Ange just flat out said, one of the first things he said in the presser afterwards was he didn't set up the team to play like that. Well,
right.
As much as I'm still, let me get this clear to everybody, my opinion, I'm still Angean. I still think at this moment in time, he's still the best person, because I don't want Mason and another person, and there's no one out there that we're paying for. So I'll just stick that coat hanger in the ground right now. But it's a slight contradiction when you say you didn't set up your team to play like that, and you've essentially got three defensively minded, or at least central midfielders in your starting 11. There's no real, at least if you were going to do that, do Bissouma, Bentancur, put Kulusevski up the top of the midfield, and then just put Tell in and just give him the first 45 minutes, because by the looks of it, he was raring to go anyway. And I know we're all armchair managers after the fact, but I just think this setup kind of went against what you've been preaching in that we're just going to be us and we're just going to play our game. And you kind of took any spark of attacking Nous out of it. And I know, Maddison wasn't available. I know he's, some say he's not had the best season at the moment, or the best season. His numbers haven't been awful, or they've not been amazing, but neither is the team. But I just think by sticking Kulusevski back out on the right-hand side, whether you like it or not, yes, he can play there to a degree. You basically cut off a third of his ability and potential. And he's already running, I've already mentioned that this is the Master League or the FIFA Career Pro season that none of us want to play, because all of our players are down to depleted energy bars and they're on 60 or 70%, and we can't seem to get them back up to 100 no matter what we do. So he's running on empty anyway, and he was running down blind alleys after 20 minutes by the sounds of it. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit, obviously we're all frustrated, we're all upset, but, it's a little bit of a contradiction to me that you say we wanted to go out there and impose ourselves and do our thing, and that's not how you set us up, and yet you play 3 defensively minded midfielders.
Well, Eugene,
I agree.
Defensively minded midfielders. I mean, we have seen Basuma and Bentancur get forward a lot, but look, we're playing Liverpool way. So I'm all for the Kulusevski coming in the middle bit, because he would have held on to the ball better, I think, than that look. What's your feeling? We have seen, but like for Liverpool way, I mean, like it's like Kulu on the wing. It works in a lot of games, but we're playing Liverpool way. Let's not forget that. You know what I mean? So
I agree with Drew to a point. So when I saw that lineup, especially the midfield, I thought, you know what, we're gonna go park the bus and play on the counter. But the issue with playing on the counter, we didn't have any outlets. Many times when Kulu got the ball, he was running forward and there was nobody next to him. I thought having or playing a defensive midfield will give us a solid base and will nullify Liverpool's midfield. But we had so many gaps, we didn't do that, nor did we have any creativity, or we didn't have any outlets for the counter. I have no idea what Son was doing. Honestly, I forgot he was even on the pitch until late in the second half. And then Sarr looks lost. Bissouma was shocking. Even Bentancur. So I got what Ange was trying to do, but the execution was terrible. So again, if we're sacrificing a number 10, if we're playing all defensive mids, we have to look solid, and we need to play on the counter. But we had no outlets. We couldn't play the counter. The midfielders were playing scared. They were afraid to take on their man and push the ball. And of course, the same mistakes from Bissouma as we've always seen. So again, for me, I said I'd rather see Bergvall, because at least the kid has the balls. At least he wants to make things happen, even though he might make an occasional mistake. But what we saw was just timid play from our senior midfielders. And based on that lineup, midfield was supposed to be our strongest unit. And they let us down big time.
Yeah, Drew, I mean, our only real outlet, and I think Liverpool knew this, was Kulusevski. He did drag us upfield quite a few times in that game, but like there was no support for him really. And I think all he could do really was try and hold the ball up just to take the pressure off us, because every time we lost the ball, wave after wave of Liverpool attacks. Yeah,
well, you say they use the word dragging there, and that's probably the best adjective you could use. Adjective? I'm thinking that's a doing word, isn't it? Yeah. I should have gone to school longer. But yeah, like the fact that he, was dragging, and he wasn't even he was barely dragging himself. It's not like he was really able to have much of an impact on anybody else. And the one saving grace, and it's not even a saving grace, and I am kind of clutching at straws, but I do have to sit back and remember, and I know, like the one thing you always say, right, as a fan base, you at least want to see some effort. You want to see everybody giving it a go. you want to be at least proud of your club and proud to kiss the badge afterwards. Like you could, I'll take a 6-0 drubbing if you're just up against somebody that's bigger and better than you and they knock you down a couple of times and you know what, you just keep getting back up off the mat. And the biggest problem with last night was that to a man, really, other than a few, and I'm going to call them out, you didn't really see any of that. And I think that's the problem, right? And let's bear in mind, this is Anfield away. Some of these guys, between them, even just in that starting lineup, and I know that was a starting lineup that wasn't their first 11, but, Robertson and Van Dijk have clocked up 300 appearances between them. They can read each other inside out. You drop Jones and Gravenberch in there. Gravenberch has played for, Bayern Munich to a greater degree than Matisse Tell. So let's not get that confused. But, you've got Soboslai in there, Hungarian international, fantastic. Gakpo, who has been given time and opportunity and been allowed to grow into the position that he's in that team. Nunes, I quite like him, but obviously he has his haters. And then obviously Salah, there's not too much more you can say about Salah.
Yeah.
But you're going away to Anfield to a team that is, let's face it, is purring at the moment. And the reason that they only signed 2 players in the last transfer window, in the last 2 transfer windows, is because, hey, everybody, they don't really need to buy anybody. They've probably got people on the back burner that will probably bring in the summer. But let's face it, this substitute bench that they had last night had Federico Chiesa, who admittedly hasn't hit the ground running, but that's a Italian international that's played for Juventus. We've got Luis Diaz, Harvey Elliott, who is not a half-bad kid. We've got Endo, McAllister, Diego Jota, Samakis. And then you compare that to our bench. We have Ajay,
I'll get it out.
We have Casanova, Olasesi. So, I mean, there are levels to this, right? So, the 30-foot picture to me is I'm absolutely seething. And as everybody knows, I listen to it at work. I sometimes try and put it on, but I'm usually distracted, so I'm always listening to it. And everybody yesterday in the lab heard about what was going on. I think maybe even a couple of beakers got broken by accident. Sorry, boss. But there are levels to this. The 300-foot picture is that you're going to a very, very good team that has had very, very little in the way of injury problems, who is not disjointed. And you're going there with Kinski, who has played, 5 games for Spurs? 4 or 5 games? This is his Anfield debut. Gray, who I believe is certainly his Anfield debut for Spurs, might be his Anfield debut. Danzo, Premier League and Anfield debut. Davies can't play 2 games a week, 3 days apart from each other. He's done well, but obviously limitations. Spence, I'm not going to say anything bad against that kid because I think he's just phenomenal. Bissouma, Bentancur need to hold their heads. And, what was it, Bissouma said? Would the real Bissouma please stand up? Because we're still waiting.
You're going to see the real Bissouma.
Well, actually, maybe we're not waiting. No, maybe we're not waiting. Maybe this is the real Bissouma, and that's the problem, right? Bentancur, probably going to get some pelters. I'm going to get some haters. There's a reason Juventus let him go. He's a mediocre midfielder who has moments where he is absolute class. But you know what? The difference between world-class players and great players and good players is consistency. And the guy, admittedly, had his injury problems, and I will accept that. But he also did something real stupid in the summer and got himself a 7-game ban. Then he goes flying into a tackle that he doesn't need to go flying into and gets himself another ban after 5 yellows. Like, this isn't the sort of leadership you need when the team is in the position it's in. And then Kulusevski burnt out. Richarlison, I'm sorry, never been his biggest fan. The dude just can't stay fit. I feel for him, but at this point, you just got to shake your hands with it and get rid. I'm sorry, by hook or by crook, you've just got to stop shooting yourself in the foot. And Sonny, I've got so much love and respect for that guy, but he's a busted flush. He's an impact player. I've got no problem with him. You know, I would have no problem if he was still part of the team. But he is Mr. 60 minutes, Mr. 70 minutes when he's absolutely fresh as a daisy, or he's missed a 20, 25-minute impact sub. We have flogged that guy to death. And if you look at the trajectory between him and Salah, there's only about 2,000 minutes between them in terms of playing times over their careers. But you look at the amount of more games and traveling that Son has had to do for South Korea. I think it's 30 more international games, which includes, you know, at least flying around the world half the amount of time. That's a 14-hour flight compared to a 4-hour flight when you're going from England to Egypt compared to England to South Korea. So I'm sure that sort of thing adds up. On top of which, genetically, they're two different builds of person. You've got Mohamed Salah, who's actually quite slight and quite agile. He's only about 5'10", 5'11", and 10 kilos lighter than Son. You've got Son, who's quite a thick guy, and South Koreans genetically, I think, are just stockier, are more solid. So I think that plays into it. I think he has a harder time recovering. So I think it's a tired argument to keep comparing the two, because it's like comparing. It's not like comparing apples to oranges. It's like comparing Granny Smith to Golden Delicious. They're both apples. At their peak, they're both absolutely wonderful to eat if you're partial to an apple, but one of them goes bad quicker than the other. I mean, it is what it is. But I think sorry to go on this rant or ramble, but
I'm waiting for Eugene's rant.
I think although I am angry at last night because players didn't turn up, I'm angry at the older players for not turning up because the younger players didn't have a chance. Everybody kind of just looked like they actually just, pardon my language, shit the bed. Like, I just think they all got scared, and I just think they realized the daunting prospect. And as soon as the first one goes in, you know, you're kind of done for. The first 20, 30 minutes, from what I heard, there was a little bit of hope, but these guys were gassed. They'd already kind of lost in the coach. And I just, you know, it's a tough one to take, but my anger stems at the ownership and the fact that they have allowed this squad, not this year, not last year, but over the course of 5 or 6 years, have allowed this squad to become what it is. Like, you know, I'm sorry, Davies shouldn't be here. You know, like we had such a good thing with the Poch group and the Poch era. And I stand by what I said on a pod a few weeks back, that if we were going to do what we did and this big rebuild needed to happen, when we decided to hire Nuno, that's when we should have cashed in on Kane. And that's when we should have rebuilt the squad. And that money should have gone towards Nuno players, because look at what you can do when you give a manager the tools to do what he does in his job. If you give a plumber a wrench, he will fix your broken pipe. If you give, a carpenter a saw, he will cut some wood and make a desk for you. But if you're going to give an undersea welder a carrot, then and I know that's a stupidly vast analogy, but if you're going to continue to hire people and then give them shit to work with, then this is what you end up with, So my anger is 85-90% with the board and with the owners. And it's, split evenly between the naivety and the stubbornness of the manager and the naivety and the, stubbornness of our older players. I don't know if it's stubborn. I don't even know what it is. But yeah, that's my little 5-minute rant. And
okay, I'll
Eugene,
give me a take on the subs, and also as as Drew half alluded to, do you think this team were beaten before they arrived at that ground? Do you think that 6-3 drubbing at the Lane scarred them?
I agree with Drew and slightly, I guess, disagree maybe. But last night was one of the few nights where I was actually embarrassed for the players and just felt like it was a shameful performance, not because we lost. I expected a loss. And as Drew said, we all know where ultimate blame lies. It lies on the board for not, backing any managers, for not bringing players in. We all know that. We also know that Ange's tactics at times are also naive. And so we all know that. But regardless of all that, on the pitch itself, when it's time to play, time and time again, the kids who have no experience play hard. They play for the badge. Last night, Spence, as you mentioned, even Archie Gray, Ben Davies, even Danso, there are few players who put in a shift. So even if we would have lost, or even if we lost, I'm like, you know what? They can be proud of the performance. Yes, we're at Anfield. Yes, we're playing the best team in Europe, perhaps. We're outmanned. Mm. But the least you can do is put in a shift. When you look at the senior players, Son was pulling out of 50-50 tackles. He was invisible. As a captain, that's unacceptable. I don't care if Son scores or not. I want him to be a captain and to act on the pitch accordingly. Bissouma and Bentancur, senior players, there's no excuse for them not at least to put in a shift and to play scared. Yes, you can make a mistake. Make a mistake because you're trying to be brave and make something happen. Don't make a mistake like Bissouma does when you're playing afraid. I know he can take a man on. I've seen him do it before. I know he can push the ball and make a pass. But he was afraid to do it. Like he was afraid against Arsenal when he made the same mistake, the same bad pass. Like the mistake he made against Chelsea in other games. Bentancur, who actually I rate, but he was shocking as well, didn't take responsibility for anything. And Sarr is Sarr. He is still young and he is technically deficient. Like, we cannot rely on him. He's not a game changer. So, and that's the shameful part of the performance. Not that we lost, because again, I expected it. It's just the players are not putting in a shift and that they're not trying for the badge. And that's what's embarrassing to me.
Right.
And that's why I'm really upset by what I saw.
Right. Short pause with like 40 of you viewing us at the moment, which is excellent for this time of night on Friday.
Big up.
There's 45 comments. So I want to go through the comments, say hello to the guys in there. Or unless you want to do it, Drew, it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, you carry on. You carry on.
Then. Right. Graham, a regular friend of the show's here. Big up, Graham. Matty Kushner's here as well. Big up, Matty. Eugene saying hello. Lisa Davis, a friend of the show. Big up. Phil Coys. We'll have to get you on the show, Phil, when you're available. Big up. If you want to come on, let us know. We'll let you on. We'll send you the link. Evening, Eltel. Are you coming on? I did send you the link. I don't know if you're tired or you got family stuff. If you want to come on, let us know. Where we go? Oh, that was Eltel. Matty K again. Graham again. Matty K again. Phil Coys. Drew's here. James is becoming a regular of the show as well. Big up, James. Right, the bench was going to save the season. Ridiculous. Yeah. He's going to take time.
Don't know about that.
But we've got no options now that Richarlison's wounded.
Waving his arms.
Yeah, unless you play Son through the middle or even Kulu. No, I don't care anymore. There's that team that is the... there's some of them I agree, Daniel, I'd get rid of. Graham again. Drew again. Brian, hi. How are you doing, mate? Josie's here.
Big up, Brian Dougal.
Jose's here. Obviously got his camera off. He's got must have family stuff or whatever. We've discussed that as well, Brian. We'll talk about Kinski later.
All right.
Big up over at Eugene S. Hi, Eugene. Daniel 90. Eugene S. again. Phil Coys. Daniel 90. Audio. Hi, Audio. Regular friend of the show, right, Nick? Nita. Hi, Nita. Another good friend of the show. SDFC Benny. I've seen him on the show before. Never ever sick of seeing you. I can't wait to see you in person in London at April. There you go. Phil Coys. Daniel. Phil Coys. Daniel. He's in 9 years in total performance. He's a disgrace.
In answer to Phil Coy's question, yes, I think there's certainly an element of, I think the occasion got the better of a lot of them, and I think they were too scared to play, which is never what you want to see.
That's a good point, Pilch 58. I don't know who you are. Good to see you. We do regular shows at this time. Our other shows go at 8 o'clock UK time for the UK Europe audience. Last May we were 4 down at Anfield, midfield of Cybersum, Bentancur. We also had Vicaria and go, well, Porro and everything all started and just learned nothing. Valid point.
I mean, there's also a flip side to that, which is they were, just as naive last year because they'd had even less games under their belt. I mean, it's a completely different dynamic. I mean, the results are the same. The outcomes are the same, granted. But that was the VDV at that point had half a dozen games. So I mean, I don't know why I feel like I'm pissing in the wind. He's probably right.
Even Jose, your mic on, Jose, or Jose will show up when he shows up.
He's still playing football.
Yeah, good point, Nick. I mean, cometh the hour, cometh the man. Give him a go.
Yeah.
Because like with league form, we're going to finish mid-table at best. So if anyone defends him, I'm wondering what they're smoking. I don't think anyone's defending him. Well, he might defend the back four. We have no structure. Poch told us the story. Daniel ain't got a winning mentality. Spend. You ain't making us winners on the pitch. True, Nita. Big everyone in chat. Thanks for tuning in. Smash the like. Well done, Drew. Big up Brian Daigle. Pilch. Right, Nita. 75 minutes should have been sub for the younger player. It was really shit or bust. We had nothing to lose at that point. True.
Do I tell you what, the thing with if you look at the and I know Trent Alexander-Arnold was injured, but even if he wasn't, chances are they still play Connor Bradley.
Yes, please. So we'll get you on. Go on.
And I'm just Son being the way he is at the moment, I just would have rather just put Mikey Moore on. Just put Mikey Moore on. It wouldn't have done any harm to give him the first 45 minutes, and you probably would have got I'm going to say a lot more out of the front line, but you would have got more out of the front line with Mikey Moore starting, because Sonny just looked busted from the beginning. We're getting to the point where he's having trouble playing two games in a week. So,
or Drew, as you said in the beginning.
Audio, his name is Carl. Sorry, Audio, I keep calling you Nick. Someone else comes.
Sorry, Eugene, what was that?
I was saying, as you mentioned in the beginning, or put Mikey Moore on the right-hand side and put Kulu at the 10. For me, that would make most sense. Right.
I mean, I'd have, to be honest with you, I mean, obviously, as I said, hindsight's great, and being an armchair manager after the fact is also awesome. But Matisse Tell was chomping at the bit anyway. I would have put him on the right. I'd have put Moore on the left, unknown commodity on the right, somebody that's just going to give you everything on the left. Stuck Richie down the middle for the first half because obviously in hindsight, that's all he was good for anyway at that point. And I just would have, see, and this is where I understand people's frustration with Ange, because to me, it's a bit of a contradiction. But then he's saying he didn't set up to play like that, but he's got three central midfielders, defensively minded midfielders, and he's playing, to me, playing the youngsters would have been going for it. And you kind of go out there, you give them as good as they're getting, or you give as good as you're getting. For the first half, we were good for the first 20 minutes. And I don't know, like I say, it's easy to say all this in hindsight, but I would have preferred to have seen younger legs.
all it takes, as we've seen time and time again, one mistake, because we actually did okay the first 20 minutes, but all it takes is one mistake, heads drop, and we fall apart. And that's exactly what happened. But yeah, as you're saying with the kids, I mean, the first leg, Bergvall was one of the best, if not the best players on the pitch. So, I mean,
well, the problem is, I don't know if anybody else agrees, but the problem is, I think for the last 3 or 4 weeks, the press has gone. And I don't necessarily know it's as much down to tactics as it is down to everybody just being absolutely gassed. And I think the problem is that when the first goal goes in, it's not only the realization that, the goal's gone in, there's also then, do you know what? We don't have the energy. We just about thought we might have had the energy just to kind of hold it down. Now you're telling us we've got to go after it. And that's when the heads, I think, really drop, because now you've got Sonny going, I haven't got this. I haven't got this today. I can't do it. Which is why I think if you'd have started fresher, younger, earlier, you might. Do you know what? The same thing might have happened. But I think you go at them a little more and you give them a little bit more to question, rather than just kind of almost sitting back and waiting for the mistake. Because we all know Basuma's got one in him. So, but anyway, I don't know. Eltel, big up, mate.
Yeah, let's welcome Eltel, a good friend of our show, runs his own channel, superb channel. He does Predictions League and all that. He's got the patience of a saint to do that. He was doing it today. It's really good fun. So please, the link's below, guys. We want to get him up to a K. We've just got over a K after 7 months of subscribers. So we want to get Jose over to a K because he deserves to get over a K. Yeah, so I'll take the link out now, but I'll post it halfway through the show and at the end again for you guys, because obviously people come and go, you know. It's just under 40 of you watching us now, which is good, very good for a Friday. Jose, what was your take on the lineup when you saw it?
I did the pump-up show on We Are Tottenham TV, so doing the lineup, when before the game started, I called for the defence. The defence he picked was what I called. I said Porro needs to get the rest. So I would play the defence that is in there. It's the defence that I called. So I was advocating a start for Dancer. Right. So that was the lineup I had. And I did say, this is all pre the game, I did say that there's 2 ways that Ange can go tonight. Ange can go for the experience, and it would be Basuma and Bentancur and one other. I never named the other, I said it would be one other. Or he can be daring, because Liverpool, they've got an industrious 3 in midfield who get about. They get about. They're a well-oiled unit, and they get about. 2 will go up, 1 will hold, a different one will hold, the other 2 will go. They've got a 3 that work in tandem. So for me, I thought, I said, is he going to go with the experience of the 2 older heads plus one other, or will he go in with young legs in there, 2 young legs, and maybe Kulusevski there in the middle rather than wide? I would have started Mikey Moore. It's what I said. This is before the game started. I said I would have started Mikey Moore. The problem you've got is, if I'm going to be honest, the best position for Mikey Moore is coming from the left. Although he's right-footed, he's coming from the left. Matthias Tell's best position is coming from the left. So you've got 2 players there that are coming from the left. Although people are going to turn around and say to us that Matthias Tell can play 9, that, to me, I don't know whether he's a 9. He can play a 9. He might be able to play a 49, but I don't know whether he can play a 9. And it's weird because, I don't know, back in the day when we all played football, I mean, Eugene, you're a lot younger, so you might say differently. But when I played football, if you were right-footed, you weren't scared of playing on the right. If you were left-footed, you weren't scared of playing on the left. But you've got players with all this new football fad nowadays, and you've got these inverted players. You've got players that are right-footed playing on the left, players that are left-footed playing on the right, and they're scared to play on their own sides. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, they've been through academies, but they've learned how to kick a football years and years ago. And, I'm just surprised. So people will turn around and say that Tell is not as effective on the right, and they'll tell you that Mikey Moore is not as effective on the right. You could have changed things up, and maybe I'd say Richarlison as well. For me, I heard what you said, Adrian, that you felt that he was relieving us of some pressure. I don't think he was.
No, I said Kulusevski. I didn't say Richarlison.
Okay, sorry. Well, even Kulu, I thought Kulu yesterday held on to the ball way too long. I thought it should have been substituted at half time. He held on to the ball way too long and didn't release it and got us into trouble for not releasing the ball. His pass, he was just getting knocked off the ball all the time. And the thing is, he had a rest. When did he have a rest? Did he have a rest against Elfsborg? So he played a half, didn't he? He didn't start the game. So he was rested against Elfsborg for half a game. So, you know, he was just getting knocked off the ball. He's not the same player that played for us at the start of the campaign. I would have taken him for half time. And do you know what? We were getting beat, right? And I just thought to myself, it was embarrassing. Honestly, I felt embarrassed because I mean, half of us will turn around and say, players don't need to be given any further motivation. It's a semi-final of a cup. You've got a chance of getting to the final. So therefore, players should be self-motivated. However, if the players ain't self-motivated, then what did we say? Whoever it was who does the speaking in the change room, what did they say to them? Because at half time, they came out even worse than what they were in the first half. And I when they went 2-0 up Liverpool, I turned around and I thought to myself, because I don't get angry and vexed up, but I just thought to myself, why don't you just throw on Ajayi, throw on Oluwasi, just throw the bloody youngsters on, because the bloody youngsters, they're itching. This is what they've been working their young lives for, is to get first team appearances. And they'll probably come on the pitch and they'll provide you with the energy and they'll be up for it and they'll wear the badge with pride because they want to make careers for themselves. Some of these other players that played for us yesterday, I was just like, and whether it's that they're tired, whether that's they're not good enough, you know, I mean, for me, I heard you guys talking about the midfield, and my 2 pennies, and I still maintain this. Sarr hit his ceiling when he played against Milan. Sarr reminds me of 2 players that Arsenal had. They had Abu Dhabi and they had Denilson. Both brought in by Wenger, and both were really poor players. Hit their ceilings after their first season, and after that, they didn't really play. They were crap and they were bombed out of the club. I find that Sarr has hit his ceiling already. It's Milan. I don't think, and there's games that go, and after the game, I think to myself, did Sarr actually play today? Because he plays, for me, he's an anonymous footballer. He doesn't, okay, scored a goal the other day against Brentford, really nice goal, and you're going to remember that. But other than that, what else did Sarr do that game? You know, and you look at every game that Sarr plays, and to me, he's the anonymous player. Bissouma, I mean, I live near Brighton. Well, sorry, I don't live near Brighton, but it's the nearest Premiership club to me where I live now. And I play football with the boys 3 times a week. I played tonight, and they were all saying to me, Bissouma is a good player if he doesn't bring the baggage with him to your club, because when Brighton sold him to us. But he needs someone to switch him on. Now, if you reach the age, I don't know what's Bissouma now, 29, possibly 30 years of age. 27. Is that? Oh, he's still young, is he? Okay. Well, even when you reach that age, though, Eugene, you'd expect that as a seasoned professional who's been around, he's captain for his country, who's been around, you'd expect him to have that oomph, that drive and stuff. He just hasn't got it. And you know, at the end of the day, you wheel out a team like we did yesterday. I felt yesterday, from my honest opinion, I felt Bentancur was made to look poor because he had to cover the other 2 silly players he had in midfield with him, because they were off the pace, they were making errors, and I felt that Bentancur was trying to go out and put their fires out instead of looking after himself. And I thought it made Bentancur look a worse player because he was just trying.
I'm in line with that, because Bentancur was brilliant against Brentford and he was very good against Elfsborg, and he sort of really protected the back 4. Eugene, we're taught at a young age when we play football, and you know, your coaches will tell you this, you know, most games are won and lost in midfield, right? Our midfield needs a revamp. I mean, I think we'd all like to see Gray in there, right, as well, especially now players are coming back. And after the Villa game, I think because we're not in the playoffs, we actually don't have no midweek games for 2 weeks. So the players will get a bit of a rest and we'll have the other players back. Whether we're still in the FA Cup, then is another matter, right? But, so midfield, I mean, like, to me, I can, if I've got a slight mitigating circumstance for the front three, the midfield is supposed to link with the defence and the forwards. And if you can't link the forward, or you're giving balls to players that are in a cul-de-sac that are marked, I mean, you're not going to really get a foothold in the game, are you?
Yeah, and I agree 1,000% with Jose. Like, if we look at Sar, he does well in games where he's a much better athlete than the opposition. So against the lower teams, he can use his athletic ability to stand out. When he meets his match, his tech isn't there. He's just not on the level that we need. And Bissouma, my thoughts on Bissouma. So again, yesterday, I expected the midfield to be too defensive. But again, where we sacrificed offense, we didn't get that defensive boost from the three. So as I said before, I would rather see Bergvall play. At least he's brave. He pushes the ball. He's not afraid of the moment. And I do wonder when we're going to see Archie Gray as a 6. I'm just tired seeing same old players just going through the motions, not being good enough. If we're going to lose, at least let's give kids a chance. At least let's develop them. And at least let's see some passion for the badge.
Right. I'll stay with you. To me, you can disagree or agree, doesn't matter. Bentancur, he's done a good job as trying to be a 6. To me, the best we see of Bentancur, usually, like last season, is when he's central midfield and getting us up the field, getting us up the pitch. I think I really like the player. If everyone's fit and he's not gassed and all that, if Kulu's not playing in midfield, he'd probably be my first pick in midfield. I do think he's that good. Drew disagrees with me. That's fair enough. I ain't got any issues. Subjective, what you think of players, isn't it? So what fans think of players.
I mean, Bentancur, I do like him. I mean, unfortunately, I think he lost a bit after his big injury. I think he's not the same player as before, but I do rate him. I think he's a good player. I just think he's not a 6. He probably flourish if he has a proper 6 next to him. So I rate him as an 8. But again, is he a good player? Yes. Is he a game changer? Is he an elite player who makes a difference for us, who can carry us through the tough moments? No, we just don't have those players in the squad. So I rate him not like Bissouma or Madison. I want him out. He's better than Sar, obviously. He's a good player, but again, he's not that guy in the midfield. We need a midfielder who will be on the team sheet game in, game out, who is our anchor. And Bentancur, I don't see him as that anchor for us.
Drew, we've had glaring midfield issue. And when people talk about bringing in a defensive type midfielder, because I'm not into these numbers, 6, 8s and 10s. I'm more into holding midfielders, attacking midfielders, central attacking midfielders. That's the way I was brought up. I mean, apart from the fact we ain't addressed the left centre back and the left back issue, which has been glaring from the summer. I mean, but we need at least 2. I think we need at least to bring in. We need about 5 or 6 players, but we need to bring in at least 2 midfielders, as far as I'm concerned. And you can do that and crowd the midfield until you get people gone, because if you've got 25-man squad, once you've got 2 in every position, that's 22. The third goalkeeper's 23. You've got 2 extra positions that you can fill. You could go 1 defender, 1 midfielder. You could go midfielder, attacker. But we know we definitely need. And I think, get 2 more midfielders in.
Yeah, I would certainly not be opposed to that. The one thing I'll say about Bentancur, and I just, as I say, we're dealing with fine margins when you get to this level of football. So I don't want. I will never sit here and say that a player is absolute garbage or trash, because they are all at the very peak of their abilities, right? When I say I don't rate Bentancur, I don't rate him in the sense that when you leave Juventus or when you leave Man United when they were, at the peak, or when you leave Manchester City or Inter Milan, or, those clubs trade within themselves when those players are peak players and they're at the end of their contracts or they decide they want to go somewhere else. If Bentancur was absolute peak midfielder, he would have gone to the likes of Real Madrid, a Barcelona, a Bayern Munich, just like the Tony Cruz of this world, and the peak players go to peak teams. So Bentancur is a very, very good player on his day in a position where he can just do his thing. I don't think he's a base of the midfield general that gets everybody in line. And I don't think he ever will be. I think he's one of those players that looks great and plays great when he has great players around him. And I think Sean Butler says show ponies and workhorses. And I'm not quite sure where he fits in with that, because there are moments when he does sparkle, but it's when everything is ticking over, right? But then, again,
Phil Coyes, I've sent you the links in the chat. I only want Phil on, 5 will be enough, right? But anyone in the chat,
Adrian, I sent it to him by phone.
Oh, did you? Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
I sent it to Phil already by phone.
I'll put it in the chat as well. So, yeah, you guys in here, you're always welcome.
Take it out of the chat now, because I've already sent it to him by phone.
All right. Has he got it, yeah?
Well, if I've sent it, he must have it, because it's the only phone number I've got in that number. So.
Carry on.
But yeah, so but then the one thing I will say, the one potential, or the couple of potential saving graces to this season is the progression of Bergvall, however you want to say it, and Archie Gray. And I think the thing now is, because of the circumstances of what's happened, I know he's been playing centre-back, but I think Archie Gray, his predicted projection has now changed based on the amount of appearances and, more importantly, the amount of minutes that he's now played. Yes, I think you definitely need a defensive-minded midfielder, but I don't think you. How do I say this? It's not that you want to get in somebody so good. I'm just concerned now that Archie Gray is progressing quicker than we thought, and I wouldn't want to hinder that potential. But I do understand the need, because he is obviously only an 18-year-old. I do understand the need. Like, if there was the chance of getting like an Edison that maybe comes in and sat in front of him in the pecking order, and he could learn from him, and but still not hinder too much of the game time. And this is why I've said, in the last few weeks, regardless of what happens, I will finish 17th. We have to be back in Europe, because I think we need the games. Because if we don't get into Europe and we have another bad start to another season, and we're out in the first round of both cups, and we've got 41 games again, that will stagnate us more. That will stagnate us as much as going out and buying the wrong player for the system, whatever that system is. Big up, Phil.
How are you doing, chaps? Right?
You're allowed to smile, Phil.
It's hard to smile at the moment with this team, isn't it?
Yeah. So.
I was completely shocked with that performance, to be honest with you. It's a semi-final, right? The biggest game since the Champions League final for me. And we had 0 shots on target in all the 90 minutes. That's unforgivable. Unforgivable. We've got some young players in the team. Granted, right, we've got players that are new players that have come into the team. But how can you not get up for a game like that? I've got big questions on the manager. I've got big questions on the players. We all know about the board. They ain't good enough for this club. They need to go. But for a one-off game like that, I'm absolutely embarrassed with that performance, and I'm embarrassed to be a Spurs fan from that performance. I just wanted to get that rant out because I needed to say that. These performances have gone on far too long now in these big games like this, and the mentality of this club within the players, the manager, up above as well. It needs to change. Needs to change at this club.
Jose, we're going to talk about individual performances here, right? So I'll give you Kinksky. I thought, I didn't think it was that great yesterday, to be honest. He should have caught a couple of balls. He's a developing player, though, so no one's going to throw him under the bus. He's a young goalkeeper as well. And he's done okay, hasn't he?
For me, Kinksky is, I think he's coming, right? And straight away, he's given Vicario something to look at. And he really has, because although I will say that Vicario is a leader, right? There's no getting away from it. He's a leader, and he's one of the leadership group, Vicario. But Vicario last season was found out in certain things. He had certain flaws in his goalkeeping. And I firmly believe that he was addressing them before he got injured this season. He was addressing them. He weren't nowhere near where he should be at, but he was addressing them. Kinksy's coming, and Kinksy has now elevated, or he's going to elevate and push him to learn these things that he's been learning far quicker than what he needs to if he wants to get first team football again. Kinksy comes out and he gives the defence, if you've got free kicks and corners, the defence and the team, when they set up to defend these, they know that they've got a goalkeeper that's going to come out, command, punch, whatever. He's going to do whatever he needs to do and command the box. And he does that. So for all that, it's great. And then, all goalkeepers, or some are riskier than others with their feet. He comes across as a risky one. He's lastminute.com. He waits till the last second before releasing the ball. And you just think to yourself, God, like Fraser Forster got caught twice, didn't he, in that game against Man U? He just leaves it for that bit too long, and he takes that risk. But that's what he's about. At the end of the day, I don't think he played really, really badly, Kinksy. He's 21 years old. He's come into a team. He's been thrown in. It doesn't matter where you've come from. It does matter. He's come from a lower league. He's come in. He's playing in a higher league now. The intensity is far higher. The pressing is far higher. And he's learning his trade with us now at the moment. But I think he's good in the sense that he will provide the kick up the backside that Vicario needed. Vicario didn't have a kick up the backside before because he was always going to be selected. He's obviously ousted. What's his name? Longshanks.
Forster,
yeah, Longshanks. He's got Longshanks out of the way, so Longshanks will leave the club, or Woodchopper, whatever you want to call him. He's going to be leaving the club because, he's been found out. He's getting on, and he's better off finding himself somewhere else. But then also you've got the emergence of Austin now as well, and Austin's come in. He's played 3 games for us this season, and Austin hasn't done badly in the 3 games he's played. So basically, Kinksy, I don't think he was at all bad yesterday. It was a difficult match for the whole team, him included. But I believe that he's come in. He's provided competition that was seriously needed at the club.
Do you think there's pros and cons for both the keepers? Even all 3 of them. I mean, Kinksy, I think, has got some good attributes, but I think he's very lazy on the ball. Like too lazy for my liking. I think he takes too long to distribute the ball for me. But he can distribute the ball. That's what's frustrating. He's got that in his locker. And for me, I think he'll be a good goalkeeper for us going forward. Vicario is the number 1 at this moment in time for me. He's more experienced. He's that leader in the back line. He talks to the back line, so he has to be the number 1. And Austin, He hasn't put a foot wrong for me since he's come in. In a couple of appearances, I think he deserves to go have a permanent deal somewhere else. He's been at the clubs far too long, and good luck to him if he does go. But I think we've got some good goalkeepers on our hands.
With Kinski, I'm afraid for now his shot stopping isn't up to par yet. Vicario, yeah, he has his faults, distribution, set pieces, but he saved us last season time and time again with some amazing saves. Kinski is strong in the set pieces in the corners. He is very good with his feet, but he needs to improve his shot stopping if he wants to be a number one keeper. And right now,
That's
I
what
feel
said,
like
pros and cons about
Yeah,
both of them.
exactly.
Eugene, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Kinski's a young goalkeeper, so
Yeah.
he can get better.
Yeah.
With Vicario, he's there, isn't he? At that age.
yeah, if you could put them together, that would be a world-class keeper. But now we got Vicario, who's an elite shot stopper, and Kinski, who's very good in distribution set pieces, but he's still young, so maybe 2-3 years he's going to improve. The question is whether he's good enough to be a number one keeper for us at this moment, if we have any ambition to compete again. And I like what I see, but I'm not sure if he's good enough at this moment. So I don't know. It's a tough one.
Drew, pick one. You know the routine of my shows. Pick one.
Jedley Spence. I'm going to go Jedley Spence because I haven't been able to speak about him much
Jedi,
recently.
yeah? You're going with the Jedi.
Yeah, Jedi. He's the one breath of fresh air in an otherwise dour team at the moment, other than, as I say, a couple of others. Like he's not letting anything, doesn't appear to be letting anything get to him. He seems to be able to do everything. He's not fazed by anything. He's strong in the tackle. He can run with the ball. His spatial awareness is good. He's still young. Yes, there's been a couple of errors, but I mean, nothing that you would just, nowhere near like Basuma levels or anything like that. Like he's been awesome, and it's a shame. I mean, on the one hand, it's a shame we hadn't used him sooner. On the other hand, was he too immature to be used? On the other hand, had we used him sooner, would he have grown up quicker? On the other hand, did he need to? Do you know what I mean? There are so many roads that this could have gone down, and he's regardless of the situation, he's doing everything he can to make the Spence family proud. And yeah, I look forward to seeing his name come up on the team sheet. And it's with players like that, you wish. I mean, I think we all wish, and I think if we were to all take a step back and actually look at it a little logically, like if we had Vicario in goal, if we'd have had a fully fit Van der Ven and Romero, or fully fit Van der Ven, Dragusin, if we'd had a Danzo with 40, 50 games under his belt, or if our centre-back had and played 400 games with our left-back, would we be a more cohesive unit? Would we have gone there and maybe done a little bit more? Absolutely. But, there's 3 teenagers on the pitch. I think we ended the game with 5. I mean, yeah, I can't, as I say, Spence is great. All the kids are great. No, I can't speak highly enough of the kid. I think he's done exceptionally well.
So, Drew, I'm going to say to you, if we had a goalkeeper and 10 Jed Spences on the pitch yesterday, would the result have been different?
Do you know what? I think it might have been. It might have been 4-3.
That would have got us through, though, wouldn't it? Either way, 4-3.
Hey, in the immortal words of Nuno Espirito Santo, it would have made us proud. It would have made us proud.
I would take 10 Ben Davises, even, just somebody who plays hard.
So let's Spence. Who wants to take Gray? While I'm going through the chat, you see.
So either Phil or Eugene, that's their turn.
Oh, sorry.
Go on,
It was
Eugene.
a question
Go on,
for me.
mate. Go on.
Yeah, take Gray. I haven't got it up because I'm going through the chat. We'll move through all the players as we usually
No,
do.
Gray's. I mean, Gray, another solid performance. Is he brilliant? No, but he's very solid. He makes, from what I'm seeing, less mistakes at a center back position that's not his than some senior players. And I've seen huge amount of growth in Gray from the beginning up until now, where in the beginning I questioned the price tag and whether he's going to be a great player. I really right now feel like if we treat him right, and if the culture of the club doesn't ruin him, he's going to be a very, very good player. So I didn't think he did anything wrong. But if when some players come back, Van der Ven, Romero, if they come back and Ange still does not play Gray at a 6, I'll be having some questions for Ange. Because eventually we do need to see Archie Gray at the 6. But out of everybody, him and Spence are the bright spots for us
I think
in the last few weeks.
Yeah. I think he's one of 3 bright sparks out of all this shit mess at the moment.
And Bergvall.
I'll put Bergvall in that, yeah. Bergvall, Gray and Spence are the shining lights this season. Gray deserves a lot of respect, a lot of credit for being an 18-year-old player that's playing in a position that he's not used to. And he at the back, he seems like he's like a senior player. He, with the amount of games that he's played, he's got a lot of experience, and that only puts us in good stead in the future. With his development and us as a team. He's Mr. Versatile for me. And I think we've got a really, really good player on our hands. Really good player on our hands.
And Phil, what it is, it's with him and Spence both. They both have that disposition, and even when they talk, after the game, Spence said, "We weren't good enough. We got to do better." They're not going to go like Bissouma and saying, "Oh, you're going to see a real Bissouma," and the way they talk, their disposition, they look like they've played for a decade. So I really feel like they can become a new leadership group of the Spurs in the next few years. But again, as long as the culture of the club doesn't ruin them. And there is a high chance, unfortunately, that it might. That's my fear.
Big up to Joe Phillips, dropping Gray, a good young player, not worth 49 million, cost the squad a decent midfielder being bought in the summer. I would slightly disagree and agree. I would say big up. He's not worth 49 million. I honestly think, based on his performances right now, if in hindsight, Manchester City or Liverpool or anybody else, they'd pay 100 million and they'd amortize that 20 million over 5 seasons. I guarantee it. Based on his performances,
million for him
he's 18. I think it was 35 million. Big up, Joe.
I think it was 35 million with the add-ons.
Yeah, he's a future captain for sure. If he stays,
stay with you, Drew. Davies or the new boy?
Oh, go on. Hang on, sorry. What were you saying, Phil?
I was just going to say with Bergvall as well. He seems like he's a senior sort of player now. I mean, after the Liverpool game, he was going up to Bentancur and to Kulusevski to go up to the crowd, go up to our fans at the end of the game. Do you know what I mean? He's taking up that mantle to be a senior player when he's 18 years old. Do you know what I mean? He's showing the senior players how to conduct themselves. Do you know what I mean? After a game, when we lose a game like that, and I just think these kids that we've got on our hands are impressive, and they're going to be good players in the future.
Drew, Davies or the new boy, Danzo?
I'll take Davies. I'll take the Ben Davies Appreciation Society. he's been all right for us this season. You know, he's had, obviously, we all know about Ben Davies, but he wears his heart on his sleeve. He gives us 7 out of 10. You know, sometimes we get the odd 8. Miraculously, sometimes we get the odd 9 when he clears something off the line in the North London derby. But, I mean, I would like to think this is probably our last season with him. He can't play 2 games in a row. He shouldn't be out there now. You know, it should be, it should be other players that are far younger.
He's on Lee Mason, Drew. He's on Lee Mason, David.
Yeah, right. God.
He's on the coaching team.
Oh, man, he's going to be in it. He's going to be backroom staff for sure.
I would take Ben Davies as a coach.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, given some of the names that are in our coaching staff that I've never heard of that came from the back end of Scotland, I mean, I don't know, probably couldn't do it much worse. But no, he's what can you say? I would like to think that maybe we'll have somebody else fit for the weekend. I don't know if that's going to be the case at this point. Maybe would I rather see Gray with Danzo? Maybe Gray, Danzo, Spence on the left, Porro on the right. I mean, yeah, at this point, not sure. But Davies, what can you say? I'm not going to beat the guy up. Hopefully it's his last season.
Jose, the new boy, Danso for you.
Superb. A 500 million% upgrade on Dragosin. Quite comfortably. You could see it straight away yesterday. He's not scared to carry the ball. People kept saying he's a bit dodgy in the tackles. I thought he was all right yesterday in the tackle.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I thought he was all right in the tackle. He carries the ball. He has got pace to burn. And he likes the rough and tumble, don't he? And to me, I mean, it must be okay. These people are professional footballers. I'm going to say something that's going to contradict what I said earlier. It must be hard to try and learn team patterns and to be able to play with someone after three training sessions. But I thought to myself, he looked absolutely the dogs. For me, he comes out with a lot of credit from yesterday's game. I saw someone in him that wore the shirt, that wore the badge yesterday, and that was him. He had a really good, solid start. It's a bit disappointing because of the team and the other players, or quite a few of the other players, letting the side down. But I thought he stood up and he could be counted. And like I said, for me, it's night and day between him and Dragosin. And anyone that tries to tell me anything different, jog on, because it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Jog on. If you believe that Dragosin's a better player, then I'll tell you what, go and support a team of 11 Dragosins. I'd rather have 11 Dansos.
They're totally different players for me. I mean, Dragosin's more like a Serie A player, more slow tempo. Do you know what I mean? He struggles with the pace of the Premier League for me, and his passing is not up to standard either. He might prove me wrong, but I think he's probably the worst out of the centre backs that we have at the club. To be honest with you,
he is. I mean, and you've got to remember, Danso's come from the League Earn, so slower pace league, and you had to pick up. Okay, you come from a slower pace league.
In the Premier League, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, six times for Southampton, when he was a very, very young kid. But he's come in, first game, baptism of fire at Anfield. The pace of the game playing against Liverpool, opposed to playing against the games that he's used to, would have been vastly different, I would have thought. And for me, he stood up, he was counted, and like I said, he is a serious upgrade on Dragosin. The agent from Dragosin, please, mate. I hope the player gets better and he gets fitter, and I wish him really well, both physically and mentally for Dragosin. But mate, do us all a favour. Start trying to talk up your boy now, because Danso's in town.
Well, he's homegrown because he had over 6 years with Milton Keynes and Reading, and he only had one season at Southampton. Then I think COVID struck and he went off to France or whatever, something like that. But he's homegrown. That's one thing. I'm sure you're going to praise these three, Eugene. Pick one.
I've dodged a bullet. I'm all right.
I'm coming round. We're coming round. Don't worry. No escape.
Adrian can have mine.
Yeah, no, I
Pick
don't know
one.
who to pick. We spoke already a lot about all three of them. Again, with Sarr, he's just not good enough technically for us. Again, he bests players on smaller teams who are not as athletic, but he hasn't improved his technical ability in 2-3 years. I was hoping he would. It's still the same as before. He does have a very good engine, but it's just not good enough if you want to start for us as an 8. Bentancur, again, a good player, but not a difference maker. But Bissouma, I think at this point, there are only few players I've ever disliked more on the Spurs than him at this point. And again, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure, as a person, he's a good person. He has the skills, but mentally, he's not there. And every big game, again, Arsenal game, Chelsea, now, every big game, he just makes mistakes that cost us. Once in a while, he steps up. He has a good game to show what he can do, but his lack of consistency is killing us. And we cannot have passengers like him and Sarr on the team. We need some bus drivers, right? We need some leaders. Yeah. And unfortunately, mentality-wise, like Sarr, I would keep as a squad player as long as he doesn't start. I feel like he's a good squad player to come in with 20 minutes to go and give us, and shore up our midfield. But Bissouma, he just does not offer enough for me to be in the squad. I just dislike him at this point. Him and Maddison, I don't want to see on the team. I have this irrational dislike for him and Maddison at this point.
These three midfielders they haven't been consistent at all since they joined the club. Not one of them have been consistent.
That's been the biggest problem this season: consistency. And if the midfield if you don't win the midfield battle, you're never going to win a game.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know what our midfielders do other than, sideways passes. I mean, they don't really affect the game. Bentancur in moments, Bissouma in moments, Sarr, all I see him do, he's got a good engine on him, but doesn't affect the game. Do these three midfielders affect any games whatsoever? Do you know what I mean? Do they run the midfield? In big games I'm talking about.
They were invisible.
I can't see them. You give me Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali any day over Bissouma and Bentancur. They've got the fight. They've got the, they can run a midfield. They've got a goal in them. For me, these three midfielders have been at the club far too long for me, and they've had so many chances to try and get that consistency at the club. Sarr will be the benefit of the doubt because he is only 21 years old, I believe. But Bissouma and Bentancur, these are senior pros. They should be getting that consistency with how long they've been at the club. And for me, I'd be inclined to sell them in the summer and get 2 new midfielders in.
And Phil, forget Tonali and Bruno. Give me Bergvall and Archie Gray. Play, especially now, where we're not going to finish in the European spots. I want to see Bergvall at the 8, and I want to see Gray at the 6. We're not going to win anything at this point. Well, maybe in Europe, but even then. But play those 2 consistently so that they can develop and we can see what they're all about in those positions. There's no point to play.
I'm going to bring Drew and Jose in on this, and then we've actually done with the game. Then I'll do the stats, and we'll move on. So, Drew and Jose, these 3: Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski.
I'll keep this short and sweet. I'll do Richarlison. I feel for the guy. I'm sick of it. We got to do something else.
Yeah.
That's really all there is to it. He had his 8 in 9 last year. He can be a bit of a terror on occasion. but his first touch is left wanting majority of the time. He has some pretty nice finishes every now and again when he's not thinking about it. But it's just the injuries, man. You just can't. I think he's played 9 times this year. You can't do it. If you have got any aspirations of being a consistent team, especially in this kind of system, you need consistent forwards, and the best consistency is, or the best C is availability, or whatever they say. He needs to be available, and he's not. So.
Yeah, but the only drawback with that, if Werner's available, that ain't good enough for me either. Right?
No,
so
I don't want him. I don't want him either.
Yeah,
I don't want him either. But I was hoping that he was a stopgap for last year. Why he ended up being a stopgap for this year is a whole nother conversation. But no, I don't want to talk about Werner unless his name appears on the bottom of the screen, Adrian. Don't make me do it, mate. Don't make me do it.
Well, Jose, anything on these 3? And then I'll give you the stats.
I'm going to go back to the midfielders and 2 of these 3, right?
Go on.
And so the problem that we've got at Pass the Buck FC, Availability FC, whatever you want to call our team, the problem that we've got is we have had, over the years, we're putting plasters on gaping wounds. We keep putting plasters on them. This has been a legacy of what's happened for over years and years and years and seasons, where we don't build with a squad, we don't get players in, players go well past their sell date, which they have done, and now we're thinking that we're coming out at the other end of it now, and we've changed up the squad and stuff like that. It's quite clear that we were 4 or 5 players short last summer. Even we've papered over the cracks by bringing 3 people in now in the winter window. And I hear what the guys have said about some of the other players now, but if you want to get rid of Bissouma, if you want to get rid of Bentancur, who's going to take them? If you want to get rid of Richarlison, who's going to take Richarlison? Who's going to take a punt on Richarlison who's never, ever fit? Who's going to pay the money? How are you going to get rid of Richarlison from your team? Sorry?
Saudis won't. That's the problem. Even Saudis won't take him.
They won't. Why would you buy a player? Why would you invest money into a player, Phil, that's never going to play for you? That's wasted money. Do you see what I mean? And so it's all right saying this, but how are we going to get the players? How do we shift the players out of the club? I mean, for me, I don't want to get rid of Benny, but I'm going to play along with what you guys have said. Bentancur, Bissouma.
Jose, the only way that you'll be able to get rid of these players if you drop their value down considerably. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They ain't gonna go for what we paid for them in the first place. They're gonna go for half of that.
I hear
That's
you, Phil.
the only way you're gonna get rid of them.
I hear you, Phil. And do you know what? I'm going to raise you, Phil, with Eric Dyer, Tanguy Ndombele, Giovanni Lo Celso. I can raise you with all these players from what you just said. Dropping value, we've got nothing for these players because the players are not worth anything. And so to me, I'm thinking to myself, how much are you going to get for Bissouma? What will you get for Lolo? Even though I'd like Lolo to stay. What are you going to get for Richarlison? You're not going to get money for
Isn't Bissouma's going to be in? Oh, sorry, Phil. Go on.
No, all I was going to say is, if you've got these for considerable price, out the door, you've got the wage off the wage book as well, which helps. Do you know what I mean? So,
but the man upstairs, Phil, he wants coinage. He wants the pound notes. So if you're going to sell a player, he wants to see some. Listen,
he weren't that bothered with Dembele, was he? He wasn't that bothered about getting rid of him and not, he paid him off, I think.
Yeah,
in the end.
and I think the plan was to move Dyer and all these other players, Lloris. The people that I can raise it, I think the plan was to move all them out and take a hit. But I don't think the plan is going forward. Do you know what? Let's take a hit again on the players that we've got. I don't think that was part of the plan. So that's why I find it difficult what they're going to do.
Do we keep them? Do we keep them being inconsistent all the time?
No, we don't. That's what I'm saying. How do we do it? It's a conundrum. But that's 3 of them, and the other one is Sonny. Now I'm going to tell you about Sonny. 3.5 years ago, was it 3.5 years ago? 4.5 years ago, before the World Cup in It must have been the one in Saudi because they played in November, didn't they? Do you remember that Sonny had got an injury and had to wear some mask thing?
Yeah.
For the World Cup. Okay.
Yeah.
So before that happened, before the start of that season of that World Cup, and he got that mask that he had to wear because he got the injury, I turned around and I put, and I like telling this story, I put it in Glory Tottenham Hotspur, the Facebook group. It's got the biggest Tottenham Facebook group. I put in there, do you know what? I think Sonny's had it. And what I would do is I would sell Sonny. And with the money, I would, and this was back then, this is 4 years ago. I said, with the money, I would invest and I would buy Manuel Ugarte from Sporting Lisbon and Mohamed Kudus from Ajax at the time and still have some change because Klopp was sniffing around Sonny and Liverpool were mooted to be prepared to pay three-figure sum for him, 100 million for him. And I think to myself, we need to let Son go. And do you know what? I got the absolute pelters. I was called every name under the sun. Yet since that day, I want people to tell me that their eyes have deceived them and that Sonny has not regressed. Sonny's been great for us. He's been an ambassador. He's been absolutely brilliant for the club. But unlike Mo Salah, who's the same age, Mo Salah gets used differently, but Mo Salah's legs are still standing up to Premiership football. Sonny's ain't. And that's a harsh reality of it. His legs are just not stacking up to it. Sonny can only now be, at best case scenario for us, an impact player off the bench. And what kind of impact he's going to provide you, I don't know, because Sonny doesn't like the physical as well. So, one, he doesn't run at the players anymore, and he's not playing that type of football. But then he doesn't like the physicality of it as well. And if you can't get physical, then you lose. We lose that part of an edge as well from our forward line. Our forward line, in all honesty, because even if you put Johnson in there, he don't tackle, he can't do it either. Our forward line is absolute powder puff. We got Lady Penelope for strikers. That's all I've got to say. Adrian, back to you.
The 130, the one saving grace possibly with Richarlison, right? Because we signed him for 50 plus 10, right? I can't imagine that the plus 10 has been activated because I just don't think he's been around enough. So 50 million over 5 years, amortized 10 million a season. It goes till 27. So, and this is the thing with Levy, right? Levy always wants to be in profit. So he's always going to be looking for 40, 50 million. But the fact of the matter is, you could probably do a deal for 18 to 20 and recoup what's left on his contract and get his wages off. Do you know what I mean? You could do a deal just like that.
True, but if
Saudi will do it.
Saudi's not going to take it.
Drew, you said it yourself, though. Drew, you said it yourself, mate. If you're not available to play, then why, in my wildest dreams, why would a club pay X amount of money for a player that's not going to play, not going to be fit? So, and that's the thing that I'm finding hard, is that if he's not fit, if he's not available, who's going to pay? You'd be mad if it was your company. Would you pay for someone who's never going to turn up?
It's going to have to be it's going to have to be a loan with an option, isn't it? And they're never going to take up the option.
Yeah,
you know? I mean, Dre, that's why my tagline is delusionist.
I think they'll take that punt. I think they will. You know, just simply for his his name as well in the Premier League. It's not a massive name, but for the Saudi League, they think it's big.
That would be the only saving grace, right? Yeah, so he's the number 9 or was the number 9 for Brazil for a minute, so therefore he's a catch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was hoping this is
I'll give you the
15 million to 20 million. That's a possibility.
Do you know what? I want to live in Phil's world and in Drew Zilla's world if they think that we can get money for Richarlison.
What about you?
Right, let's move on. Let's move on a bit, guys. Let's move on a little bit because we still got.
Adrian, hold on.
Adrian, hold on for a sec. Eugene, what are your thoughts on Richarlison? Are you a fan or no?
Yeah, no, I'd get him out. Again, he is offering us nothing, but I don't think Saudi would want him. I was hoping they would take him this year, but they bought Durant for 80 million. I'm sure they can find better targets. And as far as Sonny, the only way he can play for us, though, if we do what Pep does with KDB, just bring him in for 30 minutes at a time. Yeah. But the days of him starting for us and being our captain, those days are gone.
Well, he's going to be with us next year, isn't he? I mean, I'm like you guys.
He'll go in the summer. He'll go in the summer.
Sonny and Basuma straight away. Those three would be the three. I mean, some fans it's still subjective. Some
I
people
think,
like Richarlison,
Adrian,
some like
I said it to you before, Adrian. I think that Tottenham activated the extra year or whatever on his
they have.
in order to sell him in the summer.
Yeah,
Because
that's a possibility.
you'll get a little bit of money. You'll get something for Sonny. Sonny's someone that even though he's footballing, we've seen a steady decline with Sonny. Sonny's still good enough to go and do a job for someone. You'll get a fee for Sonny. Now, I think Sonny could be someone that could move on in the summer. But the twisted part of my thinking is that knowing what the vulture upstairs is like.
Yeah.
If he loses Sonny, he's lost a whole big, gigantic revenue stream. And
you think part of keeping him is to mentor Yang Min Hook?
No, I think he's there just because he's a cash cow for Tottenham.
Okay, fair enough.
Only reason why I think he's been given his contract.
Right, let's give you some stats. Right, possession stats: 64% Liverpool, 30%. Liverpool shots on target 10, ours nil. That's an absolute disgrace. Although we did have 5 shots there, 26. They had 14 corners. We actually had 4. They made 16 clearances to our 26. Aerial duels, 65% for them. They won. 35% we got. Pass accuracy, this tells it all. 79%, 62%. I mean, that is a pathetic pass accuracy. That is terrible. Total crosses there, 25 to our 10. Cross accuracy, 44% are accurate. So I presume it means it lands to one of their players if it's accurate, because they didn't score, 10%. Tackle, 68. So, yeah, I get the tackles where we got the tackles because we're defending. So we're going to make more tackles, But again, the stats. So they're the stats now.
How do you legislate for people forgetting how to pass a football? Like, how do you legislate for that?
Especially short passes, yeah?
Which right. 5 to 7 yards, guys. Like, what? Oh, man. And this, I think, sorry, just to cut in, Adrian, I think this goes back to the echoes of we're not training. And I've been saying this, the injuries and the issues that we've had with that have compounded so much the rest of the playing group, in that you've only had 11, 15 fit players that aren't training against anybody of the caliber that they should be training against, if they're training at all, because they're having to do wind downs and warm-ups. And everybody else at the moment this season, it's just fallen apart so drastically that I honestly feel like everybody else is on a different playing level. Like, it's almost like chalk and cheese. Like, they're so fatigued in their minds and in their bodies, and they're so nervous about getting injured themselves. And I think you're just seeing it game after game. Like, I was I always want the team to go out and win, but even the Brentford game, I was sitting here going, really? Are we actually going to pull this off? Because half of them out there look dead on their feet. And regardless, I get what people say, they're professionals, they should. These guys are seriously being flogged. And when I say that, we're talking, there was a World Cup not summer just gone, but the summer before that. We played a season, a World Cup, a season. These guys, and I'm talking across the board, footballers have not had a break. And I think you're seeing it. Like, I'm not as excited by football at the moment, regardless of what game I'm watching.
It's a semi-final though, man. It's like,
do you know what though? But it's one of the
just
biggest
not
games
of the season,
right?
Not even for the season. In my opinion, it was the biggest game since the Champions League final. We had a massive chance to get a trophy in our hands, right, against Newcastle. In the final, it was a possibility to win that. We were 1-0 up in the first leg. We had a really good chance, and they shit themselves. They absolutely. I don't think it was down to fatigue, in my opinion, respectively.
There were a couple of instances. Well, yeah, there's just a couple of instances, especially that moment. I found it very, very telling. Very telling. Pardon the pun. That moment when Tell went to press last night, and he literally looked around, and there was nobody, and he was like, "What the." And it's really nice, actually. He said he did a tweet earlier on, and he did something where he just said, like, chin up, essentially, or head up. and was just like, as if to say, come on, let's just go again, which at 19 is a nice mentality you have, right? But I mean, I totally get it. Like, you really do, and you should expect that they will just be up for just be up for it.
Pain barrier.
Yeah,
you go through that pain barrier, Drew. It's in a game such as that magnitude for the club. I know it's the Carabao Cup, but it's a cup that we haven't. It's a trophy at the end of the day that we haven't won in 20 odd years. So, I said it in the chat before at the start. I said we've got loads of injuries, but their mindset wasn't injured before the game started.
Right.
So I mean, that can have zero shots on target is an absolute embarrassment, mate. And
I totally.
Even the younger players, mate. I mean, they should have put a better shift in.
I mentioned earlier on before you came on, I would have rather have seen if we were going to. I felt like the three in midfield contradicted how we were supposed to play, because we were supposed to just kind of be ourselves, right? And I just think that I think you understand that Sonny's running on empty, and you just say, all right, if we're going to go for this and we're going to play our game, or we're actually, just going to at least not necessarily even go toe to toe, but gives ourselves half a chance. I would have stuck more and tell on from the beginning and just given them a little bit more to think about, rather than trying to sit back and soak up. Because honestly, let's face it, to a man in the chat, man, woman and child, and to a man, woman and child on this panel, when was the last time we actually, as a team, like universally on the field, they all went, right, we're going to shut up shop and we're going to do this well, and do it like a cohesive unit, like a Jose's Chelsea or something like that. We don't do that. We don't play like that. So why all of a sudden the mentality was we're just going to try and soak this up, and then I'm going to come out and kind of say, oh, I didn't really set the team up to play that way, but yet my three midfielders
in the team.
Do you think against Brentford then, Drew, Brentford pushed us back? That's why we did well defensively, and like Bentancur played so well. I don't think Ange goes out to set up at worse ways, like a mid block, not a low. But,
well, the first leg against Liverpool, right? We also were more defensive, but not that defensive. And Bergvall at least gave us an outlet at the 10 where he made things happen. So we were solid defensively in the first leg, but we just didn't, do it as drastically as we tried.
Right, let's talk about Ange before we move on, guys. Now, how much do you think he's been hamstrung? I mean, because like as fans, if everyone was fit, our arguments would be a lot stronger than they are now, obviously. If opinions would be firmer, simply because we don't know as fans when he picks his team, right? We might say in hindsight we would have played Bergvall and all that. We don't know if these players are gassed, whether it's too much game time for Bergvall or players like that. I mean, there's not enough. We haven't got enough clarity on what's really going on. And we've heard all this about, these injuries, the training and all that, and then just come out and said, we haven't trained for ages. No, they might next week and the following week, because we've got a week's gap between games because we're not in playoffs. And by the end of the second week, most of the squad could back, and I'm just praying we don't pick up any other injuries in between, because we've got 10 injured players at the moment. And even Odegaard will be back. The likes of them, we get a chance to look at him. But his management, I mean, like, do you think he got it wrong, or the players didn't impose the game plan?
Go on, Jose.
I don't, because of the contradiction, and as I say, as much as I'm still, as I say, I've put my stick in the ground. I'm still Angin at this point because I don't know that there's anything better right now. I still don't like the contradiction, and it just doesn't quite make sense to me. Like,
I want to see kids play. I'm resigned to the fact that we've probably finished mid-table, maybe a bit above mid-table. Who knows how results go? As players come back, we will sort of improve our league position. How much I don't know, but it will improve. But I mean, I like the Bergvall grade call for midfield in midfield, and things like that. I like that. I think give some of these. If you're not going to get Europe unless we win the Europa League, which would be Ange's saving grace, because them games don't come up until March, then we all want to see I think we all want to see kids played, but not all of them at once, obviously, but we want to see them drip fed and give them some time. I
just think, Adrian, at the point where you go down 2-0 and you think, right, well, now we actually really do have to go for it. At that point, that's when I think you make the change for Porro and Spence or whatever that crazy change was. You bring more on, you stick Tell through the middle, whatever that thing. Because is my understanding right that he brought Porro on and then Spence was right wing and Porro was right back?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah, that didn't make sense.
See, I would have, if you're going to do that, and if you're just going to go all out, I would have done that the other way around.
Right.
I would have brought more on, put him on the left, you put Tell through the middle, you bring Spence over to right back, and you put Porro in right midfield, and you just have Porro just put balls in the box.
I would have played Tell from the start. I would have played
right, exactly. I mean, that's it. I would have given him an unused commodity, or whatever it's called.
I looked at that front three and I thought, we've got no pace. We've got no pace up top. Sonny's got.
It's easy to be a hindsight critic. I mean, I think a lot of us would like to have seen Kulu as a 10. Then I would have played Mikey Moore. Maybe because he's done it. I mean, I'll play more before Tell because I don't know what it was all about.
Would he have got eaten up in that sort of environment? You know what I mean?
No.
At Anfield, would he have? I don't know. But
No.
I, for me, I thought Tell should have started. He was,
I mean, Moore would have been fresher because he was taken off against Brentford, so he'd have been fresher. Sainz might think, well, give him a half.
But what Phil's saying is not hindsight. What Phil's saying is not hindsight, Adrian. What Phil's saying is that before the game, he looked at the forward line and we had no fucking pace. That's what Phil's saying. That's not hindsight. He said before the game he saw the team and didn't have no pace. That's not hindsight because we had no fucking pace. So if you pick them three players, you've got no pace. So it's not hindsight. It's factual. You've got no pace.
If you want to play on the counter, then you need some pace. You can't be a counter-attacking team with no pace.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on because we've got a few things to discuss here.
You asked the question about Ange, and it kind of went off on a tangent. So are we still on Ange or not?
Well, I mean, yeah, I thought you I thought you were answering it by saying that you should have picked different players or things like that.
For me,
the midfield, I think I would blame for everything yesterday. I'd blame the three midfielders. I'm a fan of Sarr and Bentancur, but I'd blame the midfielders. And then I'd critique Ange. Well, you could see we were struggling. Why didn't you do something about it? Why didn't you try and change something earlier? I mean, it took to the 33rd minute before, about 30-odd minute before they scored. We'd held out, but it was like one-way traffic, wasn't it?
Yeah, so come on here as well.
So I don't know what it is in his thinking. He's given more young players a chance than any other manager I've ever known at this football club in all the years I've been watching. But yeah, I mean.
So for me, I'm going to say that, right, and I'm with you, Adrian, and I know that Drew is with you as well because I know what Drew thoughts because he said what his are as well. I'm still Ange, right?
I am.
But as the season carries on and every game comes on, I question a lot more about everybody, not just Ange. I question everybody. I've questioned the top for their mismanagement.
Definitely Levy. Definitely.
For mismanagement. I question Langer because I think he's a fucking shyster.
Hang on, we're going to come to him before you criticise him.
All right. So, all right. So it's a lot of people that I would look at. Now, to me, yeah, Ange, and if the player is not performing and a player isn't doing what you ask them to do, then what you end up doing is you end up dropping the player and you select someone else. Surely that's what you must do. So I'm kind of okay. People say we've had injuries and stuff like that, but I kind of look at it and I think to myself, hold on, if he's not doing it, I'm going to have to bring someone else that's going to do it for me. Now, what are we saying? Are we saying that every single player just doesn't do it? Do you know what I mean? Is it every single player that's not doing it? So questions have to be asked about the players as well. And Ange, the way he sets the teams up and the way he does.
If you look at it coldly, It's not a question of players not doing it. It's a question of players not being good enough. They're not good enough to be consistent over the majority of a season. Don't expect players to be on top form, for all the games they play, but they're not good enough. Some flatter to deceive they look good. But Basuma has looked good in the past. Then he'll have a poor game. Then that's no good. It's no good. Same as Richarlison. I mean, he had a good purple patch when he was injury-free and all that, but that was a very small part of his career at Spurs. No, I just think some players are not good enough. Werner's not good enough. Basuma's not good enough. Richarlison's not good enough.
The managers also
because of his age, and the other two senior midfield players around him should be doing more. So
yeah, but I think the manager should have done more as well. The manager's got to be accountable for some of this as well.
We've critiqued him all season when we thought he hasn't got his subs right or he's picked the wrong team.
Yeah, the manager's got to take some responsibility here.
Yeah.
But the players have got. I think the players need to take some responsibility. I think there's a portion of the pie that should be shared around with a lot of people in this bloody stinking club, right? Mm-hmm. But obviously, I'm starting to rattle on with. I didn't even know because I don't get your run sheet, so I didn't know you were going to talk about somebody that I've just mentioned. So I'm going to stop there because I'll wait for the. I'll wait for the meaty stuff to come.
Right. Okay. We'll move on. Right, and we've got 40 odd of you in viewing us, which is excellent. I mean, it seems to be the longer we stay on, we attract more American and Canadian members. So we have to make these shows, worthwhile for them if they come on, and give them a fair amount of time for a show. So a lengthy show. Right. Before you answer, I don't ask trick questions. So I'll give you some facts. You know me, I'm fact-based. So Yan Lang, good, bad, or indifferent? Now, the reason I posed that question before people jump in.
We don't need facts, Adrian.
Sorry,
I said we don't need facts.
Right. Okay. No, but others will need to know in the chat and everything else.
I'm joking.
Players brought in under Lange's tenure, 13. Werner, we can say is a miss. Maddison, Odebert, we don't know. Minihan, we don't know. Solanke, Bergvall, Gray, Danso, Tell, and 4 teenage academy players. Now, don't jump in yet because I've got more. So that's 13 he's been involved in as director of football. Loans or sales, he's been involved in 22. Kane, Dyer, Skip, Winks, Højbjerg, Sanchez, Lo Celso, and Ndombele, Gill, Solomon, Santiago, and Sunset Bell, both in the Spanish second division now. Veliz, Craig Matthews is at Mansfield. Keeley, Donnelly, Vuskovic, Devine, Phillips, Abbott, Gunter, and Lancashire. So he's been involved in 35 player contributions, either in or out of this club. He's taken a lot of stick recently. There's all these rumours about how he came to leave Villa, which I didn't pay much heed to. Now, we know, don't we, how frustrating it is for us all, and me particularly. We've been screaming out for a left back, a left centre back, and a midfielder. I don't believe that they haven't tried to get those players in because they wouldn't know. I mean, it's obvious we needed another left back. We didn't get one, right? So, to me, I think I'm going to give them the benefit of doubt. I think they must have tried behind the scenes, but couldn't get anyone that fit the profile. Go on then, Eugene, because you're nodding against that. Go on.
But this is gonna be my last rant. I'm gonna go, and then because I know that Jose and others want to have their say on this, but for me, he's a criminal. It's less about what he did and more about what he did not do. So in the summer, when we bought the kids, that's great. However, after finishing 5th and barely missing out on Champions League, not bringing in at least one top player is criminal. Not bringing in a left back when everybody knew we needed a left back with no cover is criminal. Not having another center back. There's so many areas where we left ourselves, so open, especially given that we're in 4 competitions this year. So spending a lot of money on the kids, you can argue yes, no, that's fine. But if you do spend 70 million on Bergvall, Wilson, Odebert, and Gray, you need to bring senior players. And we only brought in Solanke for our starting 11, which was unacceptable. And that's in the summer. Now, if you look back in January, he had 5 months to devise a plan with his team. and have some targets. And my expectation was that we're in the relegation battle, we're struggling, everybody's injured. On January 1st, or at least the first week, somebody has to come in and help us, because the players are dropping like flies. Kulusevski and Porro are about to get injured. They're running on fumes. So I expected after 5 months of prep, on the first day, we're going to bring somebody in. But as always, we left all our business until the very end of the window. How many more games could have we won or gotten points in if we'd bring some players in on time? And then even if you look at the very end, this whole situation with Tell could be a good player, I'm not sure, but he is also a kid. Is he going to help us? I hope so. Danso, good business. But even with Danso, there was I was reading somewhere, which I think is true. We could have had Danso in the beginning, but we would have to pay $5 million or pounds or euros for him. So for $5 million, we wasted this whole month and didn't bring in a backup.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the last minute bid for Guehi, first of all, I don't think it's real. I think it's for PR. But if it was real, if we did have that 70 million, there is no excuse not to make that bid early to give Palace time to bring back or to bring in a replacement, or to use that money, that's 70 million plus 15 million that we spent on Kinski, and bid for Cunha or Embuemo or Wissa for a top player who could be that difference maker for us, who could be the game changer. But what did we do? We didn't do any business in early doors, wasted the whole January, brought in another kid, Intel. And I just personally, like with Fabio, at least I understood what his plan was. He had connections in Italy. He was always looking at different players. At least I could justify, at least I could see what he was doing. I have no idea what our plan is as a club and for the scouting team. Are we, is this Project Youth? Great. But if that's what it is, tell us. Are we bringing on, kids only and that's it? That's fine, but tell us. But now we're stuck in the no man's land, and I have no idea what the club is doing. I have no idea what Lange is doing. It's just, we're all over the place. And it's so frustrating to watch. And once again, another manager is being, thrown under the bus. We're shorthanded and just going to get sacked. But Lange is going to keep his job. And drives me nuts. I'm really angry. This is the angriest I've been with the club in a long, long time. Sorry for the rant, but
that's allowed, Eugene. That's why we want people on. But everyone that rants on it does it mature and sensibly. We don't want to become a shout fest and things like that, and start, using abusive language and things like that. It's tell it as it is and keep calm and mature. I just want to give the channel a plug and give Jose's channel a plug. We need to get him to 1,000 subscribers. So we've got 45 viewers here now. I don't know, in the comments section, if you could go over there and give Eltel Cockerell a plug, that would be great. At the same time, I want to thank all of you for staying with us. Like I say, this Friday night show, nighttime in the UK, will go out at 10 o'clock every Friday. We have two other shows that go out on a Tuesday and a Sunday. They go out at 8 o'clock earlier for the UK and European audience. The reason we're doing this later show is to it's for the benefit of USA and Canadian members, although not that anyone works 9 to 5 anymore. They work all hours, so you never know who's going to be on and who's not, and shift systems and things like that. So we're grateful for your loyal support. We passed the 1K mark recently, and we've only about 1,020 subscribers, and we've only been going 7 months, so we're doing fine. I'm sure we'll grow. People like our content and like the way we format our shows. So yeah, so get over to Eltel Cockerell, pump him up. Let's get him to 1,000, over the 1,000 mark. He deserves it, right? We where was we? The Europa League squad was announced today, guys. We got Vicaro, Austin, Whiteman. They're mainly in because they're homegrown. Udogi, Porro, Spence is in. Everyone wanted him in. Davies, Danso's in. What's expected? Vidi, Romero, Gray, Basuma, Madison, Bergval's in. Good. Saar, Bentancur, Solanke, Johnson, Son. Richarlison, Kulusevski, Odeberg, because he's coming back, and Tell. I'll ask you if you're happy with that in a minute. So, who didn't make it? Kinski was left out. Forster was left out. Dragonson's injured. He was left out. Werner was left out. Great. And I put Moore here in case people were panicking over Moore, because Moore's only 17, but you know he's going to be on the B list, right? Okay. So, comments on that? Any of you comments on the Europa League draw?
Yeah, it goes without saying. We bought. There was 4 players, so you can only re-register 3 players.
Sorry, sorry, mate. Just 1 second, Eugene. It looks like you've got to head out,
No.
so we just wanted to say,
Gentlemen, always a pleasure.
goodbye to everybody.
Thank you.
You're
Phil,
always
Jose,
Nice one. Thank you, mate.
Thank
you.
Take care. Always welcome.
I'll give you.
guys.
You
Have
can
a
have
good
a
weekend.
regular,
Eugene.
you can have a regular invite for Friday's. It's gone too late.
Sorry, Tel.
Well, you
How about
can
it, mate?
give him a regular invite for Friday's.
Yeah, mate.
Because then you've already got. If he does agree, then you've already got one guest for Friday. Because we need to get some American Canadian members in the group and the WhatsApp group, because that's where I'll draw my guest list from, and we need more of them. So.
All right, mate. Yeah, sorry, Tel. Carry on. Oh, is he there? Yeah. There you go.
Go on, top.
Have you comment on this?
Camera's going mad. It's just mental.
Yeah.
It's going stopped again.
Right. Yeah. So that's the list, right, of players. Where are we? That's the squad list, which you all expected. These are the ones that are out.
Yeah.
I
kind of half expected them to be out, those guys, to be honest with you, because Kinski hasn't played in it anyway.
I didn't get that one. I thought he'd be in there as well, but, and it's only 23.
I mean,
we're penalised. We haven't got 25.
Right.
Next year,
and I guess
in Europe, we'll probably have a few of the
23, right? You can't. So you can't. I'm guessing. What am I trying to say? Scarlett wouldn't be in the B list. Like, that's it, right? We're basically down to an unfit Richarlison as the striker in the Europa League squad, and currently unfit Solanke. Well, Tell, I suppose, because we're told he plays number 9.
We're told most of the players will be back within a week to 10 to 14 days.
Right.
So,
I can't see. I mean, Solanke, but I can't see Richarlison coming back. Right?
I can see VDV playing Sunday. I can see Mickey playing Sunday. Because he was only 4 off the game. Then we had all the rumours going around. Oh, he's done his ligaments. He's done this. He's done his hamstring. He's done this. And I thought, wait till we get the presser. I said the next day. And what did Ange say? No, we took it as a precaution. He felt a bit sore at half time. We took him off. Blah blah. Which was, I'll give Angie's due on players' welfare. He's good at that. Well, on that, the draw, Europa League draw round of 16 is Friday the 21st of February, which isn't far now. It's only 14 days, isn't it? 2 Fridays. And we'll be just discussing that here and there. The first 8 teams are seeded at home in the second leg. So we'll play the second leg at home. First leg's the Thursday, 6th of March. Second leg's Thursday, 13th of March. And God willing, we'll have a fit squad. And we're in this competition anyway. So, and our only opponents we can meet are these. We will face one of Real Sociedad, Galatasaray, AZ Alkmaar, and I don't know, Disneyland or whatever they are. I don't know. What comments on this, Phil?
Try and avoid Galatasaray for me. Just for me, that they're all wrong for us. They're all wrong for us, Galatasaray, to be honest. Just simply for our mindset.
Spanish clubs do well in this competition as a rule. I'm sure.
Just the mentality and the players not dealing with adversity. That fixture just scares the shit out of me. Sociedad, they're a good footballing side. They've got some really good players. Alkmaar and Midfield, they're the ones that we want to take really. But yeah, just try and avoid Galatasaray for me. The other 3, I wouldn't mind.
Okay, Drew, you got any team here you want to avoid?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I mean, if I had to, not to do any well, see, the problem is we're like the England team. We play to our level. It's like, you know what I mean? You play San Marino, you roll up and play like San Marino. You play Brazil, you roll up and play like Brazil, sort of. So not to do them a disservice, I guess I would probably go Midtjylland, Alkmaar, Sociedad, and Galatasaray as the most, not the as the least of four evils, and further down into the worst of them all. I don't know if I want to do Galatasaray again.
Yeah, but
and these are two-legged affairs with the
this is
second
it.
leg
You
being
see,
at home, right?
I fancy just two legs. I fancy
fancy us
to
at
beat
home.
any of these.
I'd fancy us at home to beat any of these, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
Even if we had a 2-0 advantage in a home leg against Galatasaray, I still wouldn't be confident with going to away to Galatasaray.
You should have a fresh squad by then of a lot more fit players. As long as we don't pick up any more.
We have to take that into account as well.
I mean, the players will get a rest after Villa to the following weekend. Until we play Man United, there's a gap of 6 or 7 days, whatever it is. And then again, the following week, there would have been a playoff game as well. We've got another gap. So it's the first break we've had. And people have been saying, oh, other clubs have been bashing Spurs. Fair enough. I don't mind Spurs fans bashing Spurs. Because we're part of the community. It's a bit like others bashing us. I take umbrage with.
Adrian,
you have to remember they compare us with like Brentford and Bournemouth and all that. Oh, they've got injuries as well. Not in the positions we've got. And those teams that haven't been involved in Europe have played 11 or 12 games less than us, and they've had a break midweek before their games with their injuries. So don't come at me with crap like that when it's biased for a reason. You want to wave a stick. No, if it's justified stick we get bashed with, that's fair enough. But I like to balance things out. I mean, people know me. Well, everybody knows what I'm like on these podcasts. So I'm the same. I like to look at things from both sides,
You have to take into account, though, as well, Ange may not be here for the European game. He may well not be here. So, we've got to take into account our form up until this game as well. Whether we get a couple of wins on the bounce or...
There are rumours about a meeting Monday. There are rumours at the club about a Levy meeting Monday. We'll know more then, and people are putting 2 and 2 together and making 6 already, saying like, well, they'll discuss whether Ange is sacked if we lose to Villa. I think he's here to... We're still in the Europa League. I think he's here to the end of the season. Then we'll see.
Poch has come out and said that he'd like to manage Spurs again. So
before he dies,
think of that what you will.
Well, if Ange finished his career at Spurs, it would be because he's won something. And if he's won something, he'd probably get a contract extension and a statue, right? But I don't see them. You're going to parachute in. And then what the fan base do? If it was Matty Wells who's head coach now, Mason, or would it be Nick Montgomery and Serge Romando,
I'd like to think they've got a contingency plan anyway, set up, because of the shit form we're in at the moment.
I don't think they've got a contingency plan. I think if it was to happen, he was to go, they would promote from within to the end of the season.
Yeah.
And you got to pay him. You got to pay him off. All right, he's on 5 million a year, so it's $1 million with 10 million to give him. I just don't see. And then you got to look at it from Levy's position, right? I'm no fan of Daniel Levy, as everyone knows. I'm Ange in, but I'm no fan of Levy, and I'll have reasons for that. Well, I'm not going into. But if you get rid of Ange, all the pressure's on Levy. Then all the pressure's on him. Why Ange is still there? I mean, pressure's on Levy anyway with the protest movement and all that. But pressure's on him, and they keep the pressure on him, which is good. But there's no way Levy's going to sack Ange and then and put even more pressure on himself. And it shows that if there was any truth in the rumours about going for other centre backs or wanting to pay 70 million for Mark Gay and all that, which I don't believe, right? But it shows that there was late urgency, but again, leaving it late in the window,
Where's your breaking point, though, Adrian, for this manager? I
always said I would judge him at the end of the
season, regardless. Or
I look at last season, and people have argued differently. He comes in, starts his first, he loses Harry Kane. we still got the record for first 10 games, 8 wins and 2 draws in the Premier League. Then VDV does his hamstring. Madison,
He's out of the Villa game, by the way. That was just confirmed
right.
2 hours ago. I don't know if you knew that.
Then
VDV is out.
Oh, he's out of the Villa game.
Yeah, we lose Madison, and then we lose Bentancur to the Matty Cash tackle. He does his ligaments. Basuma has 3 suspensions. Romero has 1 suspension. This is last year, right? Romero has 1 suspension. Then players go away on international duty. They come back, and for all that adversity, he didn't have the injury list wasn't as bad as it was this season. He finished 5th. I thought he did well last year, Ange. I thought he did really well, and he's still trying to impose his football philosophy on the team. This season, he's dealt a worse hand. We've got 10 out now. With players are gassed because they've been overplayed because they've had to be overplayed. Although he's tried to shuffle the pack and bring players off after an hour or whatever it is and do all that. And he's had a far worse situation. So I would just like to see what he could do when he just went for a season with just the average number of injuries that other teams get, not the amount we've got. And I'd like to see what he can do with that squad. And also, he was always going to need new players, and we knew he was always going to need. And we know this squad is short 5 or 6 players.
Right.
The
worst thing, Adrian. I mean, I've done my homework. Yeah. I've done my homework. I've done spreadsheets galore on this, and we played what would consider to be our starting 11. We were able to play them or field them 5 times last season. And now, one of the big things and one of the banners, one of the huge talking points or takeaways from the Langer banner is the fact that regardless of what you think of the guy, there have been so many ins and outs. What you count them up, there have been like 25, 30 in total? Now, just as an example, look at the ins and outs of Liverpool over that same time period. I bet you'll find it's half that, probably even less, maybe a third. So there is something to be said for consistency. And only being able to field your starting 11 5, 6 times last year, and then probably, I mean, I haven't done the numbers. I think I might actually have a crack at it tonight for a show on Sunday. But you might be looking at a similar scenario here. And on top of that, you mentioned earlier, Adrian, it's very nice that, we're getting these breaks and players maybe start to come back. But the problem that we've got is that they come back and they're fit, but they're not match fit.
Yeah.
And so they might be fresh, but they're not going to be sharp. And there's a difference between being fresh and being sharp.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm hoping, obviously I'm hoping, everybody's hoping. The hope is that we catch some sort of lightning in a bottle. And as the players start to come back, they don't break down. They start to get some freshness. And as other teams might be starting to falter and actually getting the injuries that have compounded us this side of Christmas that we had before Christmas, I pray to God that this season maybe starts to even out. And if we can pull a rabbit out of a hat and win an FA Cup or European Cup, as I said, I've said it multiple times over the last couple of weeks, I'll take a 17th. I don't care at this point, but we cannot be in a situation where we're back down to 41, 42, 43 games, next season. And the another thing I just want to touch on is the problem with a lot of the players that we've bought in. If you reel them off, even our biggest purchase, Dominic Solanke, does not have European football in his legs. James Maddison does not have European football in his legs. None of the players that we bought set us up or prepared us for a 48, 52, 55 game season. And that is one of the biggest problems with the recruitment. I've got no problem bringing in Archie Gray's, Bergvall's, but if you had aspirations of going far in cups, then that 23-man Premier League squad that really should be 25-man, those 2 places, That's really, really caused us some big issues.
Yeah.
Because those are the two players that you could have and should have bought that did have 55, 60 games in their legs, that have been there and done it, that can coach some of the kids through and be like, hey, pace yourself here, go there. But we bought a load of players that have played 35, 38, 42 games. And then we went into this season and expected that we would, have cup runs galore. And now we're 10, 12 games more than we played last season already. And this is what we got to show for it. But yeah, we can only hope that lightning in a bottle, the back end of the season, players come back, they start getting fresh, and we can start putting this bad stuff behind us. But it's a bit of a blow seeing VDV not being available again.
It's ruined my weekend, that is. Cheers, Drew.
Sorry, bro. I'm sorry, mate.
Like you alluded to as well, Drew, is the fact that if you've got gassed players, you've got to question their decision making on the field and their speed of thought. Because if you're tired, you might make the wrong decision, pass the ball the wrong way, miss it or over it a pass. I mean, it happens.
Well, and that compounds the problem, Adrian, because if you are then passing, if you're 5 to 7, number one, you're conservative and you are playing 5 to 7 yard passes and you're playing to the guy right next to you as opposed to playing to the guy past him so that the guy next to you can run and you can press. Not only are you not really able to do that, you're playing safe passes that you're playing badly. And then you're overhitting or underhitting the ball, which is causing the player to stretch or slow down quicker, which is then compounding the issue with the injuries. So it just seems to be one of those snowballs that just seems to be, it just hasn't stopped. I've never known anything like it. I mean, I've been watching football pretty solidly since, the first game I can remember was the 86 FA Cup final. And I've been watching pretty solidly ever since. And I've never known anything like it. And it's an excuse. It's a horrible excuse. We've got to go. We've got to carry on. We've got to go again. But I'm starting to see in some of these players, and especially Sonny last night, you're almost seeing somebody that is acknowledging, and maybe this isn't a bigger picture thing. Maybe this isn't just last night. I think you're starting to see somebody that's acknowledging that he maybe can't do what he wants to do. Be that on a fatigue level or on an old man level.
Probably okay though. I mean, his goals and assists are okay for a wide player. What's he got? About 7 and 7. Check it.
He's not doing too bad, but I think it's the recognition of I'm so fatigued at the moment. I want to go and press. Like I'd love nothing more than to be able to go and press Connor Bradley back a little bit, but I have nothing in my legs to be able to do it. And as I say, that might have just been a last night thing, but he just wears it on his face, right? You can see it. I mean, he's almost in tears half the time. That's why I don't think he's a particularly good captain. Love him as a player, but he just doesn't.
I still put a lot of the blame on our midfield, no matter who's in it, because where's the runners? They don't want to run. No one wanted to break forward. I think that 6-3 trouncing at the lane, I think it scarred them, and especially as Liverpool have gone on to hit their straps and even better form from that day. I think.
I don't know about you. I don't know about you, Phil, as well. You would expect Bentancur to have something in his legs, being as he's been banned so much, right, Phil?
Well, you would think so, yeah. Bentancur for me, it's not just about his fitness. It's about his ability, being consistently good for us in that midfield and controlling games. For me, that doesn't really have much to do with his fitness. It's to do with his game time. And for me, he's been one of the mainstays in midfield for us. When he's been fit or not banned. But he just doesn't. He just doesn't hit the heights for me. Even ever since he's joined the club, he hasn't. But with Sonny, I think Ange would have wanted to rest him a little bit more this season. For me, and due to injuries, he hasn't been able to do that, and I think that's affected us and affected Sonny's form this season.
Do you think? Can I ask? Let me ask you this, because I heard somebody had an interesting take on a podcast. and it was to do with Sonny and how he's being played in the team, and the fact that it's just if he was just free to be able to do Sonny things, and we were a bit more of a cohesive unit, he didn't have to worry about wearing the armband, and he could just be Sonny, and we had somebody that could just play a pass into a run of Sonny's, and he could one touch back and just not have to worry about anything else. And I think the problem is that he's trying. Not only is he trying to drag us through, he's obviously he's just doing too much. Sonny just needs to do Sonny.
I think
too much.
The captain's armband. I have said this, so I think the captain armband for Sonny has put so much weight on his shoulders, and I think if the armband went to someone else, I don't know who that would be, to be honest with you, because we lack a lot of leaders in this team.
Yeah.
It would be
right.
So I think the problem was not only did when you gave it to Sonny, not only did you put him in a position where you've given him all the responsibility. You've given him all the responsibility after his partner in crime, who arguably they had a telepathic relationship, is now gone. So he doesn't even have anybody that he can kind of look around and be like, "Oh, Harry, let me just." Oh, you're not this is
connecting with him up
right. Exactly, it's all him
on his own. Do you know what I mean? So for me, he's took that mantle that captain's armband on, and it's affected him. Completely, I think, and it's affected his game as well.
Yeah.
I don't agree. I'll give you two scenarios, right? And I don't agree. One is Sonny has been on decline before he got given the captain's armband, so I think that throws the captain bit out the window for me, because eyesight tells me, and the eye test tells me that he's been waning down for more than 2 seasons.
Doesn't he concentrate on his game though? Jose, doesn't he concentrate on his game a lot more if he doesn't have that captain armband on him?
Okay, but before he got given the captain's armband, Phil, he was still declining. So that's why
he wasn't as bad as this, though.
No, he's not. But he's been on a steady decline, hasn't he? So for me, that's for me. He's been on a steady decline. So therefore, for me, the decline started before he was given the captain's armband. Anyway, I'm going to throw that one out that way now. I just want to throw one thing back at you, right? Everyone's talking about these players and stuff like that, right? What tends to happen at Tottenham is we get rid of these players who don't do it at Tottenham, and they go to other teams and they do it and they end up winning things. Is it just that the players that we've got at this present moment in time, it's just not good enough? Or is it the players just cannot play the system that it's put out there? Because we're getting drab performances. Now, I fully acknowledge the injury table that we've had at different points of the season, right? But surely, even with the injuries we've had, we should not have been losing 13 games in the Premiership. Surely. If anything, we should have lost 50% of them, but not to the 13. So something just not right. Something has to be wrong.
I don't think it's anything to do with ability for me. I think it's to do with certain characters that we haven't got in this team that can lead this team, through adversity in games and in big games. Do you know what I mean? We haven't got them type of players in the team. We've got youngsters that look to like Bentancur and Basuma and players like that they aren't players to look up to. They're not.
Phil,
we haven't got any winners in this team that have won trophies.
Back in the day, when you had a Graham Roberts or a Dave McQuire, could set the tone of a match if someone kicked one of our players by taking one of them out and throwing a tackle. Those days are gone. I get what you're saying. I get it. I get your angle.
You need that mold, Adrian.
But the reason I disagree, this is down to due diligence and bringing players in as well. Part of that, the mental attitude. This is why we ended up with Ndombele, because a lazy sod, because we didn't have the proper due diligence, not just on how skillful he is, because he's very skillful, right? But because his attitude and all that was crap. My attitude's always been, I come at this very cold. If you can't motivate yourself, not need a captain, motivate yourself, on that pitch my football team, then get out of my fucking club. Get out. That's my attitude with that, because you shouldn't be there. You see, a lot of fans, I get it. They're frustrated. Everyone's searching for different angles to come in at the club with a stick. Fair enough. A lot of it, most of it's justified. What they're saying is valid and justified. But the point is, right, this is down to individual players and their performance, their belief in themselves, their mentality and things like that. If you can't do it, fuck off. Right? That's my attitude. Because, like, I have a different mindset. You didn't have that back in the day, right? And not only that, what you don't see, back in the day, Perriman was having pops at Osvaldo and Ricky Villa right in the game. And Ozzy turned around and he said, Stevie, why are you always shouting? Why are you always shouting? He was giving it like that. Because the players on that pitch with you, they were winners. They let you know if you were playing crap, right?
Yeah, okay. So what players do that on the field?
Well, don't, because you're not allowed to. Well, it's all wussy now, isn't it? You're not allowed to hurt someone's feelings. You know what I mean?
We don't have any of them players in the team.
Please don't
whatsoever.
shout at me. You hurt my feelings.
Exactly.
I'll be offended.
This
you know
is what I'm saying. We don't have any of them characters in the team to get us through them type of. For me, it's the mentality of the club, man.
I think we've got loads. I think we've got
Vicario, VDV, and Romero. They set Decky.
I think
set good examples. Bentancur sets good examples. None of them might not be captain material, but like I said, you should motivate yourself.
I think I disagree with you, Phil, because I think we've got loads of carrots in the team.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that, mate. Yeah. But no,
right.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Preview Villa. This is a bit of fun. It's a little bit of a wind down. I want to thank all of you in the chat and those viewing us. There's still 45 of you viewing us, and those of you in the chat for your comments. Thank you for your comments. I would like going to give Jose, a good friend of the show, and we're a good friend of his show, another pump up there. Please get over there. Those of you latecomers, get over there. Get him to 1,000 subscribers. It's fantastic content he does. Go over there and watch a couple of videos. You'll see what I mean. So get him to 1,000 subscribers. I'd like to repeat that for those of you watching probably mostly in the USA and Canada now, this is why we do this show at this time for you, right? To get you more involved, because you guys get up all hours, all weird hours to watch our team play. You know, sometimes I wonder why you bother. But
you'll have the Australian audience as well now, Adrian, because it's past midnight. So you're going to have the between 8 and 11 in the morning down under at the moment.
We want the Aussie audience as well, and we'd like more of you actually to come on the show as well on a Friday. You know, Drew's trying to get people from Canada and the USA on the channel on a Friday. I'll sort of leave that to him and probably bring one.
Come on and have your say.
Yes, come on and have your say. And like I say, we go out every Tuesdays and Sundays. Shows go at 8 o'clock. Although we have got a Monday show, Monday the 17th, there'll be a show. Because Ian Meth has got Kieran Maguire on. Managed to get Kieran Maguire. Kieran Maguire's a Brighton fan, but he wrote the Price of Football book, and he lectures on football finance at Liverpool University. He is an expert, you know. So we've got him on but that'll be an 8 o'clock UK time. Like the Sunday shows are 8 o'clock as well. So give that a little bit of.
But if you miss it, just watch it after the stream's finished and be sure to give it a like.
Yeah. Right. So we go back to what we're going to do. It's our last talking point. I don't mind the show being longer because it seems to attract more American and Canadian and Australian members, gives them a chance, right?
I'm going to have to go in the next 10 minutes.
That's fair enough. I get that. No. So this won't take long anyway, probably. Right. Oh, yeah. We're doing a Villa thing, right? Preview Villa Spurs. Injury vows 10 or 11, right? Vicario, Udogie, Romero, Dragusin, Madison, Solanke, Johnson, Werner, Odebert, Richarlison, and VDV is out. I don't think VDV's injured. They're just not going to take a chance on him, which I think is the right thing to do. So predicted lineup now. Goalkeeper, guys. It wouldn't surprise me to see Vicario back, actually. I think he's very close. But are we saying Kinski then, guys?
Why'd you put the wood chopper there? Why have you got him? He's not even got a sniff of getting a chance. Why'd you put him on your list?
Because he's part of the squad, Jose.
Oh, leave me alone. He's part of a squad somewhere else. He's not a Tottenham, mate.
He might. If he plays, he'll be right back at you.
Adrian, if he plays, Dr. Tottenham's about, all right? Because he ain't playing. Simple as. All right.
It's got to be Vicario for me.
If he's fit. If he's fit,
If
Vicario.
he's 100% Vicario. If not,
I think if you can take Kinski out the firing line for a while, I think he's done well. He's looked shaky at sometimes, but
and again today, in his presser he did this morning. Excuse me. In his presser he did this morning, he said that none of the injured players are coming back for this game. If Vicario is one of the injured players, and he didn't say he was back, he said that these players weren't starting till probably on the grass till next week, and that's what he said.
United. He was talking about the Man United game. He expected to have a couple back or whatever. The following week they should all be back virtually.
Training for 3 weeks, hasn't
he? Who, Vicario?
Yeah.
If he'd been training for 3 weeks, Phil, I reckon he would have played. He would have played earlier if he's been training for 3 weeks.
I don't think he would have played against Liverpool, but I'm pretty sure he would be fit for Villa. But
there was nothing serious wrong with VDV. He came off with soreness, and they thought, right, we ain't taking no chance on you, right? So if he's been doing some, because the players haven't been training flat out training. If he's been doing light stuff and all that and still feeling something, then I say, okay, we'll let you rest, and it's fine.
One of you guys, sorry, when I was having technical issues, I put my laptop on and I was watching you on my laptop. I heard you guys, I think Drew was talking about it, and to start off with, Drew, did you say something about VDV that there's been some update or something that he's not going to be available for the next couple of weeks?
Not a couple of weeks. He's just not available for this game.
Okay,
Postecoglou spoke earlier this week about how carefully Van der Ven is being managed, with Tottenham especially keen that he does not suffer a new injury. The last time the 23-year-old returned from a calf injury against Chelsea in December, he played for longer than was planned and suffered a new hamstring injury. But Postecoglou's answer Friday suggested that there are other recovering players who are now closer to a first-team return than VDV himself, even though the defender played 45 minutes last week.
Right, so I've got the embargoed. I saw that this morning's one, Drew, but the embargoed one has come out since we've been on live. So I've paused it and I'm ready to watch the embargo as soon as we come off here. So I thought he might have said something in the embargoed section. I'm not sure.
No, because this is from the Athletic at 10 o'clock. So this is from Jack Pitt Brook. So I think this is the embargoed section.
No, the embargoed section can't come out till 10:30.
Yeah, this was at 10 o'clock. Well, hang on, let me see, because I'm different time zone to you and I.
Jose, if you watch that tonight, just put in the WhatsApp chat what he said about VDV.
Yeah, I've got it on pause. I'm ready to watch as soon as I come off here.
Well, this came out at 10:25. Your time.
This evening.
Yeah.
Okay. Because embargo section you can't release it till 10:30.
Yeah, well, because what time is it now? So it's 25 past midnight, right?
Correct, that is the time now, yeah.
Yeah, it came out, hour and 10:25 it came out.
So 2 hours ago from now, okay, fair enough.
Pretty much. So, I mean, it may be a couple of minutes early, but that sounds like could be the embargo. Unless, I don't know, we'll see. I'm eager to watch it now as well.
Right, okay. All right, so we're all saying Kinski, yeah? Okay, fullbacks, guys. Where are we going? Porro only played half a game, didn't he, yesterday?
Porro Spence. It's got to be in it.
Yeah.
Good. Looks like we're saving Gray for midfield then. You Porro Spence, Jose?
No, I'll put Reguilon in there.
Oh.
And I'll probably start with either Porro or Spence, because I would like to see one of them start there and one of them pushed up further afield, because I think there'd be more, they'd provide more than even probably start Porro at right and let Spence play right inverted at the top, because I just think we ain't got no fucking pace up there. Phil said it earlier. We've got no pace. We need pace up there. Pace kills. Pace scares people. We got no pace. People look at us and think we've got an easy day today because they ain't going to go nowhere. We just need people that have got pace to burn.
And another thing to think about as well, lads, is Rashford's playing for Villa because Watkins is out. So whether he plays
I
up
think
top
Watkins is
or on
out.
the left wing,
Yeah, but with Rashford though, Phil, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but with Rashford, he's hardly played any game time, so he ain't going to be match fit.
Mings and
also-
Cash are out as well, I
with
think.
Davey, though.
Yeah.
And also as well, he's got to learn the patterns of play with these players because he's never played
Yeah,
them
of
before.
course.
So
Yeah,
I think you know, you can have these players coming in, but listen, I mean, Adrian, you're Mr. Stato, and you know the score. We have got the Indian sign over Aston Villa, and we've had it for years and years and years.
Okay, I'm going to give you a daft thing, right? I had a bet on it because they say, like, if you ever dream the lotto numbers, do the lotto, right? Well, I dreamt, this is serious. I mean, we can all laugh, everyone could laugh at me if we go out Sunday, but I dreamt that we won the FA Cup 2-1. It was blurred. I couldn't say who we beat, right? But we won it 2-1. We won it. And so I thought, I told the guys in the chat and they all laughed, said, you're going mad, you're getting old, you're going senile and shit like that. You'd expect that, the usual banter. And ageism always gets brought into the shows when I'm on, right? Being as I'm a dinosaur, proverbial dinosaur anyway. And so then I went and looked at the odds. And because I didn't want to put a bet on after Villa, because we're away, the odds would be better. If we get past Villa,
they'll slash.
16-1. So I had a fiver on it, 16-1, just for the fuck of it. I thought, well, if I lose a fiver, I lose a fiver. You know what I mean? It's just a bit of fun. So, guys, if we get past Villa, believe, right? Just start believing, right? Like you did with the League Cup, believe. Come on, we can do this. We can win a trophy. Right. So, Jose wants to go with Reguilon, not me. Nah.
No,
I mean,
Spence and Porro for me.
Yeah, Spence and Porro for me. Okay.
Rashford will play down the side. He won't play down Reguilon's side. Rashford will play on the left, cutting in. So he wouldn't play down Reguilon's side.
That's why I would be inclined to maybe play Spence right back if Rashford's playing on the left. But
I want to see your pace merchants up front now, Phil. I want to see you up front.
We're coming to them. So the two centre backs, guys. I mean, we're saying VDV's not playing tomorrow. We know that he's out, right? But I didn't know that before the time we did this, right? Romero,
he's
been
out.
Pretty quiet. He said he needs another week or so. Yeah.
He's out.
He said he might. You're looking at Man United or the game after Romero will be back.
Danso Davis.
Yeah. Okay. Danso Davis. Now this gets interesting, right? Because now we're going to the middle. Sarr, Gray, Bergvall, Basuma, Bentancur, Kulusevski. I bet you'll want to go Gray, Bergvall, Kulusevski.
Gray, Bergvall, Kulusevski.
No, I'd go Gray, Bergvall. I'd go Gray, Bergvall, and Oluwasi.
Oh, curveball.
Oluwasi, yeah?
Okay. Yeah, with Gray and Bergvall. Legs.
What's your one, Phil?
He's a can. I mean, you could play, or you could play.
Hold on. Phil's having a go. Hold on.
It's got to be Gray for me. I'd like to see him in the midfield. Bentancur, I think, as well for me, and Bergvall.
I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'll give Bentancur another go.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Okay, forwards.
Right. Okay. Oh yeah. So, yeah. I mean, midfield. Did you all pick your midfield? Then I actually deleted that one. I was trying to add to it. I was going to add Oluwasi to it. And Oyin Damola is his first name. They call him Damola, Jai, who scored that nice one.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to keep it. I'm going to go before these. I would play Tell. So I'd play Moore, Tell, and Ajayi. I would fucking let these kids run riot, man. Get them out on the pitch. They ain't scared. They got the cojones. Let them off the leash, man.
Where are you playing Ajayi? Because he can play left wing, right wing, and centre and can.
I'd play Moore at left. I'd play Ajayi on the right, and I'd play Tell down the middle.
Right.
Simple. No. I just want pace. I want fucking pure pace, and I want people that are not dinosaurs that fucking don't turn up like they did. I'm pissed off with the Liverpool game because so many of these fucking supposed.
Son scores goals against Villa. He played with a broken arm and scored a goal, didn't he? The winner up for one season.
We've been talking about him. We've been talking about Son up until now, and we're more or less in agreement that he's on the older. And yet now you're talking about sticking him in the side for Sunday.
Yeah, I'd start him.
When's our next match after this? Is it next weekend against Man U?
Yeah, that's it. We've got a week's rest. We've got 2 weeks rest. We've got no midweek games, right? For 2 weeks, because that's when the playoffs are being played in the Europa League.
But we're playing in 1 week's time against Man United. So where's the 2 week rest coming here? We're playing next week.
We've got 2 weeks with no midweek games on the spin.
Oh, okay. Right.
Because that would have been the playoffs for the Europa League if we hadn't finished in the top.
Let the Ute loose and let the old gits watch from the bench. Let the old gits watch from the bench and let them stew for a week until we play Man United.
Well, in the midfield before, I'll be playing Kula in the midfield with Bentancur and Gray.
Kula's knackered. This is what I can't understand. We've got to give these players a rest.
No, because he'll give us creativity.
Oh, yeah, right? He did that against Liverpool.
Well, no, he was on the right, wasn't he? So up front here, I'm playing Son. Definitely playing Mikey Moore. He can play on the right. He played on the right for England. He played on the right for the under-21s because we had another winger on the left. But he's actually better. I mean, you say he's better on the left. He's probably more familiar being on the left, but he's so two-footed. He's got such a shift of weight on either foot. He's just so good, right? I'm playing Son more, and I would actually, I suppose, Tell plays, doesn't he, through the middle? It's either that or Scarlett with me.
Or you can play Sonny in the middle. If you want to really put Sonny in the team.
Actually, you can play Sonny in the middle, and then you could play Tell more either side of him. That may happen.
Only if you're trying to show him
into to play differently because they're more blood and thunder, and Villa aren't going to cause us problems like Liverpool did. And they've got 5 injuries. Mings is out. I think Matty Cash is out. I think
Torres is out.
Yeah, and Pau Torres is out, and the striker Ollie Watkins is out.
I would rather have Ben Mee up front so that I can have Tell Me More. Because I honestly feel like that would be more entertaining than watching Son play this weekend.
I'm
sorry. I feel like
tell me more. Greece
that guy needs a rest. I'm going Tell More and Scarlett and Tell More and Kulusevski for 45 minutes. Yeah, Son needs to sit down for a minute. Tell me more. Tell me more. So does Kulu.
I'm going for Tell on left wing. Tell left wing.
Yep.
I'm going for a Joy on the right wing. I'm going for a Joy, and then I'm playing Sonny. I know, but I'm playing Sonny. Playing up Sonny up top. Tell Sonny and a Joy.
Right. Tell Sonny a Joy what? Hey, we're gonna have fun with this. We are gonna have fun with this, boys.
I can just say, look at that. Drew's got a new toy. Got a word game going.
This is why our under-21s are having a crap season, right? Because Keeley and Donnelly are on loan, Vasco and Devine at Westerlo on loan, Phillips is at Stoke, George Abbott is at Notts County, Dorrington's at Edinburgh, Velez
Aberdeen.
Velez is at Espanyol, Gill's at Girona, Solomon's at Leeds doing well, Min Hyuk's at QPR. Come on, the other weekend he's fast. He is fast.
Mr. Harmless Potato brings up a good point. Is Scarlett cup tied? Do we know?
I think he might be.
No,
he is. He played for Oxford in the FA Cup because he was cup tied. I think he was cup tied for both tournaments.
Big up,
so he was cup tied for the Carabao.
I'll give you the right. There's cup tied, right? Okay. This is in Europa League cards. Bergvall's got 3. So whoever we get in, he's not playing.
Oh, hello.
Because he's going to miss the away leg. Because we've been playing away. Whoever we get, he's going to miss the away leg. Because he's got 3 yellow cards in Europe, right?
Isn't it? It's up. It's 3 for the suspension, is it?
Yeah. Article 63.02 from the first match of the league phase, players and team officials are suspended for the next competition after 3 cautions. So that's in Europe.
Does it not reset?
Sorry?
Does it not
Yeah,
reset?
reset the knockouts.
Doesn't it reset throughout the competition? No.
It says from the first match in the league phase, players and teams on. So, in the league phase, yeah, it may
Suspended
reset.
for the next
It may reset.
That's what I mean. It's knockouts now, isn't it?
Sometimes they do the amnesty at the semi-finals or quarter-finals, don't they? Says you want the best players to play each other, don't you? Really,
Right.
except for if they're playing us. Yeah.
I was going to say Galatasaray are going to play themselves, are they?
Okay, so we're virtually done. I'm just looking through that. That's that. These are the league yellow cards, right? Now the reason I've left Bentancur and Basuma on 5 is because if you get 10 yellow cards before the 32nd match, you get a 2-match ban instead of a 1-match ban.
Expect them to get expect Basuma to get a ban.
He likes a ban before Christmas, so he can have time off, you know what I mean? Things like that. He had 3 suspensions last season. Remember the dive at Luton, which got him sent off, and we had to wait for. Was it Van der Ven who scored?
Yes.
Yeah. And we won 1-0 because Kulusevski held the fault, didn't he? He was the
Madison
man.
assist, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not too bad on the yellow cards. Bergvall's got a bit of a bite in him. He started picking up a few. I mean, he got 3. He misses that, and he's got 3 in the league. But Harry never got sent off for that late tackle. I don't know another game.
All I've got to say to everyone is stay humble.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, just all stay humble.
I need to change that to Aberdeen.
Hashtag stay
What do you
humble.
see? Bentancur and Basuma, the pair of them. I ain't seen a pair of bigger tits since I last visited the hub.
Right.
Pair of them.
Good lane,
Sick of them.
I'm just rolling through my banners because some of these banners are just generic. They stay there. Like say the draw's not so so we're done, guys. Really.
What
So,
time is the Villa kick off at a weird time on Sunday?
Check it out. Is it R4?
Is it or is it later?
It's like 20 past 5, isn't it? 25 past 5.
Is it 35? Is it 5:35? Someone have a look.
5:35.
Hang about. I've got the fixtures there somewhere. Hang about.
Hang about.
It's about 5:35, I think.
Sunday the 9th. It's 5:35. Yeah, it's 17:35. I knew that someone said to me they're on at a weird time on Sunday.
Yeah,
it's 17:35.
Right, these are the fixtures. Sunday 9th February, Villa away, 17:35. And then we go.
Just what the away fans want. A trip to
7 days.
a trip to
the players
Birmingham.
get a rest, 7 days. Man United at home, and then
or Piccadilly, as they say. We got Piccadilly at home.
And then Saturday, then 6 days after the Man United game, we got Ipswich away.
The Tractor Boys.
And then and then Wednesday the 26th, we got Man City at home. Well, that's 3 points. We always beat them.
I mean, that's 3 points, right? Isn't it? Right. Have it.
Cool. I've got a positive panel there.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Well, if you're bored, guys, you can always go over and join Colin's shows. We're going to end now because he was going on at midnight, I think.
No, I think it's 2:30 in the morning, isn't it?
No, he said in 4 hours it was when we was at 8, so he would have come on at midnight. I would have thought.
Oh, I thought he sent me a message when I was going to football saying that he was doing something at 2:30 in the morning. And I said, "Well, good luck there because I'll be in bed."
Right, 37 of you watching us now. We're grateful.
Thanks very much. Very grateful.
All in the comments, like you said, we go out every Tuesday and Sunday at 8 o'clock UK, but the Friday show's a late show to cater for our American and Canadian and Australian audience as best we can. We know you've got a weird time zone, so like we won't cater for you all, but we try to because you get up at all hours of all days to just watch Spurs play. You must be mad, a lot of you, really. But thanks for that. If you like our content, please give the channels a thumbs up. I mean, smash the like button, right? Leave a comment and give the channel a thumbs up. We also have, if you see down there, we have a Facebook group of like nearly 14,500 members now. The link's there if you like Facebook. If you don't bother. We're on Twitter. I've got 3.2k followers on Twitter. Xcom it is now. And I've also just set up, it's early days yet, I've set up a Facebook page with the group. I've got my own private account. I've got the Spurs Diehards TTID Space Yid Army Facebook group with the 14,500 members. And I've now set up a Facebook page. I set up for a day, and we've already got over 100 members on it already. So sent the links out. So, and I'll use that to post stuff as well. I've got to learn how to navigate my way around. It's all new stuff to me, like, you know. So we've got a page as well. So there's two main links for some Facebook. The other link's my private one. All right. So yes, I want to thank all my guests. I want to thank Phil for coming on late, making the numbers up. I want to thank Jose. The link for his channel is here.
Thanks, sir.
Fellow admin Drew.
Thank you, Jose.
If you are at all interested, guys, I mean, like, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my phone number in the chat right now. If you want to come on the show, that's all, any of you, or spread the word. Right. Or you want to be added to our WhatsApp group, because we've got a WhatsApp group as well. This is my phone number, my mobile phone number, right? So, yeah, don't start sending taxi cabs and pizzas around my house and whatever. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Be nice. Yeah.
Because that's what we used to do to people when they got a new phone in the old style phone. We'd send cabs around their houses. Stuff like that.
The fucking domino cups coming
I'll give us your new number. You know what I mean? Like, something like that. Yeah, so that's my number. If you want to ring me or whatever, any abuse, I'll just block you straight away anyway, like if you're a nah. But if you want to appear on the show, also we can link you to our WhatsApp group. If you're in America and USA, we'd like more of you and Aussies in our WhatsApp group, which is just called Spurs Diehards TTID. Yeah, let me just check the correct on that because I forget at the moment. Right, okay. Yeah, it's Spurs Diehards TTID. And yeah, so it's been a good show, guys. We've had our rants, but we've done them in a calm and mature and sensible way. Well, none of us are happy. I'm still not happy with the transfer window, right? I'm definitely not happy with Levy. So, but I'm Angin, you know. Oh, and before we go, we'll have a prediction for Villa. The Villa away game. We beat them 4-0 last season, didn't we? Prediction, Jose. Give us a score in the chat. Come on. Give us a score. If you're still awake.
I think today, if we had the team that I wanted to be put out, the youth boys, as I call them, the youth boys for me would end up winning 3-0. But if we're going to go for tried and tested shit that we put out on against Liverpool, I'm going to say 1-1 and we get through on penalties.
Okay. Phil?
Is there no replay?
No.
It's extra time, isn't it?
No extra time. No, I think penalties.
Extra time. Well, it might be extra time, but it's definitely going to be decided on the day. So I'm just saying 1-1 penalties.
Yeah.
But on Sunday when I do the pump up show, obviously I see the lineup, and when I see the lineup, I can change my mind again. But if you're asking me and putting me on the spot now,
yeah, with my lineup, I'd say 2-1 Spurs. But if I'm going for Angie's lineup, which I think we all know what he's going to pick, I'm going to go with a 2-2 Desmond.
Cheeky Desmond.
A Daigle, we call it.
A Daigle.
Yes, a Daigle.
So, yeah, I think we'll win.
What are you going for, Drew?
Hang on. Phil, a 2-2, and then what? Us to win on penalties or
extra time, not penalties.
I don't think there is extra time in the FA Cup. Mind you, I'm a bit tired now. But
there is, and then it goes to penalties.
There is, yeah. I think we'll sneak one late on in extra time if that does happen.
Oh, all right.
I'm going 2-1 Spurs.
I'm going 3-1. I'm going 1-1 full time, and we grab 2 in extra time because we're stretching them, and I think Tell comes on and plays a binder.
Is he going to score? Does
he
score?
Yeah, so 3-1 final score.
But weren't telling your starting 11 though, Drew, because you kept telling a story. Tell me more, and you were saying.
I wanted him to be, but that's only if we purchase me, between now
Yeah,
and then so that I can
without-
specifically have tell me more.
But without me, you were
Otherwise, it
saying
don't
something
work,
else.
and he's got to go on the
You were
bench.
You were saying tell something more. You were doing it earlier as well. You said another permutation.
Yeah, he won it.
Have you got the link for
No,
Colin's
that's it.
show?
There's so many
Oh, okay.
permutations.
Yeah, there was
Have you
different
got the link for
permutations.
Colin?
Yeah, there was a different permutation. You said tell something, and you included tell in your lineup. Now you're saying he's going to come off the bench.
I did. I'm sure I did. Now I'm thinking that he should probably. Oh, do you know? Yeah, no, fuck. Yeah. Yeah, do you know what? He's going to get a hat trick in 90 minutes. Got it. Let's do it.
You're sad.
Hat trick, 90 minutes. Right, I'm done.
Fantastic.
Mic drop. Done. Had enough.
Oh, right. Oh, no. The Yanks
Fucking
talk
YouTube
press in
is
102 minutes, so
You wouldn't know what fucking pick.
he's too late for us, right?
Yeah, it's going to say 2:30 in the morning. He's doing it our time, I think.
All right, okay.
Yeah, it's too late. Well, should I say I'm not going to be up anyway?
Right, I want to thank you all again. I'm going to play you out of this, and I'll see you in the
Thanks,
back room.
boys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
night, everyone. Thanks for
See
watching.
you in the back room.
Good night. God bless.